31-year-old salon manager Marcelinda Aton claims 35-year-old Brownie troop leader Maureen Davis stole the cookie money. Maureen has a separate suit against Marcelinda's husband, 40-year-old steelworker Dan Aton, for harassment.
Order. All rise. Shh, 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 shh. Now, this is cases number 279 and 280 on the calendar in the matter of Aton versus Davis. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
I have two cases here. One is really a cross-complaint. Mrs. Aton, we're going to deal with your case first.
Yes.
You and the defendant are Brownie troop leaders.
Yes.
Which is part of the Girl Scouts. And how long have you known each other?
Approximately 2 years.
How long have you both been troop leaders?
A year.
Everybody knows about Brownie cookies. Your daughter and her troop would sell cookies, and you would turn the money over to Miss Davis to put in the bank.
Her daughter was also in the trip, too.
Yes. Give her the money, she had the bank account, she'd put the money in the bank account, and then when it was all over, you would write a check to the Girl Scout Council for the cookies. And it is your claim that you gave her a substantial amount of money.
Yes.
After the sale. It was not all deposited in the account.
Right.
As a result of which the Girl Scout Council met and said they couldn't decipher where this money was, but since they delivered these dozens of boxes of cookies to both of you, you would each be responsible for half of the money.
Right.
You are suing Miss Davis for the half that you had to pay.
Yes.
Because you said, I gave her the money.
Yes.
How much money do you claim you gave her?
I gave her a total of $984.
Did you give her this money all at one time?
Yes, I did. My daughter was with me when I did that.
Over what period of time had you accumulated this $984?
3 days.
Who opened the bank account?
Maureen did.
In whose name?
Both of ours.
How many times had deposits been made in that account?
There was 1, 2, 3.
Who made the deposits?
Maureen made 2, I made 1.
So out of the 3 deposits, you made 2?
I remember making 1. If there's 2 down there, then I made 2.
Let me see what you have.
I was not able to get a hold of the bank records. They were subpoenaed.
Now, it is your claim, Miss Davis.
Here.
It is your claim, Miss Davis,
deposit
that she did not give you $984.
Exactly.
How much did she give you?
She came to my house after what we call the last booth sale they were selling outside one of the supermarkets. And what she did is she had borrowed my daughter's wagon to haul the cookies around with. She came to my house after it was done, excited that they were all gone. She handed me a pencil box full of money and asked me to deposit this money.
I asked you for a deposit slip.
Wait a second. Wait. Let her tell a story, and then I'll come back to you. Okay?
She had no idea how much money was in this box. My husband and I sat down.
So she gave you a box?
She gave me her daughter's pencil box where they had used to put the money out for the sale that they were doing. This was a 1-day sale, not a 3-day sale. Yeah. Then my husband and I sat and counted it, divided all the 1s by 20s, paper clipped them all, and that's what I deposited in the bank.
And do you know how much that was?
I believe it was $236.
Now, let's get to the box. Did you bring money in a box?
Yes.
Was the money in the box separated as to bill denomination?
I had put 20s, 10s, 5s, and 1s.
Are you sure?
Yes, because that was the only way to make easiest change.
How many people were involved in this sale?
Maureen was supposed to show up at the sales.
No, how many people were actually involved with you in this sale on that day?
On that day, we had 1 other parent.
Now explain to me exactly how this worked. You set up outside a supermarket on a table?
We didn't have a table. We just had the wagon. The people said what kind they wanted. They gave the girls the cash. The girls gave it to me. I counted what needed to go back, and I handed it to the girls, and they handed it to their customer.
When do you claim, I want you to listen to me very carefully,
okay,
was the last time you counted the money that you turned over to the defendant?
It was probably about 2 hours prior to us leaving. I wasn't sure what time we were going to leave.
Leave where?
Leave Sam Clubs. We were there from 10 o'clock to like 4:30, 5 o'clock.
And you brought all the money with you for the 3 days?
All except for $207, which was in my wet bar. And I asked her for a deposit slip, and her reply was, I can't find the bank stuff right now, so I'll get it to you when I can. And I said, all right. And then she said, with all that money laying around, I would spend it. I don't do that. That's not me.
Why didn't you make the deposit yourself?
I didn't have any of the bank stuff. It all was mailed to her house. She had all the bank access, not me.
Well, you did make one deposit yourself.
After she gave me a deposit slip.
Okay, but you can go into a bank.
They wouldn't receive the money without original deposit slip for the bank.
Oh, no. That's ridiculous.
Well,
Miss Aton, that's ridiculous. If you
That's
go
what
in
the
with your
lady
account
told me.
number, listen to me, if you go into a bank with your account number,
I didn't have the account number.
We didn't have
I
anything.
didn't have anything.
but you could have. I mean, it wasn't a secret. You said, give me the account number, then
Yeah.
and you can do it. Then you don't even have to keep money in your wet bar, a couple $100 in your wet bar.
But mine got deposited.
Well, she deposited money. She says that you gave her $236 in cash.
I gave her more than that.
I understand that you say you gave her that. But she did, in fact, deposit $236 in cash.
It's
no?
not in here.
Did you deposit it?
Yes, I did. I deposited what I had.
You said it was $236.
I believe it was around $236.
It's not registered on there that I could see.
What date?
I'm not sure the date. It was one of the dates. Her husband at school one day came up to me and asked me if I had deposited the money. I told him that I had. I was actually on my way to the bank to do that.
You lied about it.
Listen, Mr. Aton, don't shout out that you don't want me to think you're a hothead, do you?
Well, I can be. Everybody can be sometimes, but I'll restrain myself.
Well, I would like to have some proof, Miss Davis, that you did in fact deposit the $236.
I haven't seen any of the deposits that had been done. I tried to
No,
get a copy.
this was a deposit that you made.
Right.
You went to the bank, you deposited $236. You got a receipt. Where's the receipt?
I do not have the receipt, Your Honor.
What'd you do with it?
I gave it to Mrs. Aton.
No, you
Wait,
did not.
just a second. Hey.
I handed her all the paperwork with all the receipts.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She was aware of this, Your Honor.
I don't care whether they're aware of it, madam. You're not even dealing with your money. It belongs to the Girl Scout Council of America. And you don't do anything in that fiduciary capacity that is illegal. You got it?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Marcelinda Aton says fellow Brownie troop leader Maureen Davis stole the proceeds from the troop's cookie sale. Maureen denies the charge and says the Atons are harassing her.
You have a problem. At least with $236, you have a problem. You have a problem with $236 because you knew you were coming to court today, not only on her complaint, but on a cross complaint that you had. You've had months to resolve this issue. And you could have easily said to the bank, I want a copy of the receipt for my $236.
I had asked for a copy of the stuff, but apparently they were subpoenaed and the bank went through their lawyers and I was told that I could not be issued those.
Oh, that's baloney. It is going to be, Ms. Aton, absolutely impossible to ascertain whether the money was taken out of your cash box.
Does that also give her the right to forge my name on the bank documents and on here?
On where?
On the bank authority for the council, too? And she even misspelled my name.
Your Honor, can I say something?
This is not an issue at hand, and if she wants to proceed
And
this.
that is the reasoning that the council decided to only have me pay half.
Tell her what we saw at the bank.
That's not correct.
And at the bank, they would not give me any more of the statements and stuff because they realized that my name was forged also on the bank stuff.
You mean as an owner of the account?
Yeah.
And I can explain that, Your Honor.
Let me hear you.
I had gone into the bank and opened up our checking account for the Girl Scouts because they needed it to be open. I opened it with my own money. At that time, the signature card sat in the bank for at least 3 weeks. Mrs. Aton would not or did not go in to sign the signature card.
Why didn't you bring
You
one out and
told
give
me
it?
I
Shut up! Why didn't you pick up the signature card and give it to her and say, sign this off and I'll bring it back to the bank?
Because we very rarely saw each other in the morning.
Whether morning, afternoon, a bank card could be signed morning, afternoon, evening.
She knows where I
You
live.
can't sign somebody else's name to an account.
But she had told me to do, Your Honor, and it came from her. I didn't even know her name was Marcelinda. I've always known her as Marcy.
No.
She asked.
Go ahead.
She asked me to sign her name to that so that the bank account could get opened. I did that. Now, I realize after
Where did you do that? In the bank?
In the bank.
Are you telling me you sat before a bank officer and they allowed you to sign somebody else's name?
I did.
Well, you did. And this is the same bank that wouldn't give you a copy of your deposit slip of $236 that would allow you to sit there and forge somebody's signature in a bank document?
No.
Come on, Miss Davis. Well, it doesn't sound very kosher to me. In any event, I have $236 that is unaccounted for. Can't account for the rest. I'm not prepared to find that she's a thief. Forged your name. She says it was with the bank's consent. That's very stupid.
Yes, I realized that after the fact that it probably wasn't something that should have been done.
Absolutely.
But we were friends, and I didn't think anything of it when she asked me to do this.
Yeah, you don't do that. I mean, I don't open an account by forging the name of my children. I don't care whether you're your friend or not. You just don't open an account that way.
She was aware of this, Your Honor.
I don't care whether they're aware of it, madam. You're not even dealing with your money. You have a fiduciary relationship towards this money. It is not yours. It belongs to the Girl Scout Council of America. And you don't do anything in that fiduciary capacity that is illegal. It is illegal to open an account with a forged name. You got it? I don't care, friends, not friends. This is a business. All right. Switch places.
Yep.
Your cross complaint is for harassment.
Yes, ma'am.
You're claiming that the defendant, Mr. Aton, who has an acknowledged hot temper and who's going to uncross his arms as we speak, has harassed you in front of your child. Tell me about it.
It started the end of school year last year when this money went missing. The first episode he did was in front of my daughter and in front of a bunch of parents, and I was furious at the point that he would do this in front of everybody. I left school and I went to Mrs.
What did he do? So if I
He sat there and yelled and called me a thief, a liar, every four-letter word you can think of.
Where was this?
At the school where we pick up our daughters.
Where at the school?
Right in front of where their classroom is where we pick
Inside
them
the
up.
school?
Inside the school grounds.
Well, tell me exactly what he said to you.
He came up to me and he called me a thief, called me a liar, told me he was going to get me, that I stole this money, and my daughter and I proceeded to walk away, where he just proceeded to follow us and kept calling us names.
I believe he did that.
And I went to his
I
wife's
didn't have to
work.
ask him. I believe he did it. He can't contain himself here.
I went to his wife's work where I sat my daughter down in a little play area they have there and asked to speak with her. We went in the back. I told his wife what had happened, and she was appalled. She started crying. She apologized. She came out to my daughter and apologized. And she told my daughter, she would talk to him, that he wasn't being very nice. And
I believe that, too. Right?
I did say that. Just
Just
to
a second.
keep her working
Good
with
job.
me.
Stand up here, please. Ms. Aton, let's be very honest with each other. So far,
Yes.
we're getting somewhere. She did come to your place of work and say that there was
Yelling
a...
across my platform with a bunch of customers in it.
absolutely not.
And she said Bill was ready to kick Dan's... Excuse my language.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, honey.
Hey.
You want to go inside for a minute?
I don't think you're following me, Ms. Aton. My point is, immediately after she saw your husband at the school, she came to your place of employment very upset, right?
Right.
And you did have a discussion.
Yes.
All that leads me to believe that this actually occurred at the school. All right?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, it goes much deeper than that, much deeper. Insults, slandering my child.
He even went up to my daughter, my 7-year-old daughter, and told her that her mommy was no good.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Brownie troop leader Maureen Davis is suing her co-leader's husband, Dan Aton, for harassment.
What else?
Mr. Aton came up to me with his fists clenched and started proceeding to yell and scream at me in front of another parent. The parent...
What did he say?
He proceeded then to call me a lion and proceeded to tell me that I was a thief and I was no good. And I asked him, I was talking to another parent, I politely asked him to leave me alone, and he would not. The other parent then walked away. I asked him again to leave me alone. At that time, my daughter, we were right in front of my daughter's classroom where the door was open, and he would not leave. When my daughter came out, I took my daughter, I proceeded to walk away to the crosswalk. He proceeded to follow me and said, "You'll get yours," and he walked away. This happened every day when I went to school. He had something nasty to say every single day, until the fact that he even went up to my daughter, my 7-year-old daughter, and told her that her mommy was no good. I went to the police department 3 times. The first day of school I went, right after this happened, because my daughter was terrified.
Okay. According to what I read here, there is some indication that you did get a restraining order against
Yes, I
him.
did.
When was that?
On October 13th.
Do you have a copy of that restraining order?
Yes, I do.
May I see it, please? There has not been a hearing yet on this.
It's on the 27th.
Well,
They made me get an emergency at the police
Listen
department.
to me. Shh. Do you have an attorney?
No.
Well, you will, I'm sure, get one. I am not going to take your testimony here today with regard to these allegations of harassment, sir. Do you understand? Because there is currently an action pending, and according to this, you are in the interim not to go near the plaintiff, her husband, her child, and stay 100 yards away from all of those people, their place of work, their place of residence, et cetera, et cetera. Now, that was done on an ex-parte basis, so the court had absolutely no information from your side as to whether any of these allegations were true.
Yes, I haven't been able to say anything about it. She's been able to...
Did you understand?
Yes.
You will have your chance after you speak to an attorney. You got it?
Yes.
I have to dismiss the harassment complaint. You can refile it after the action is concluded in the Superior Court, but I'm not going to put him in the position of having to testify without benefit of counsel here when he has a current action pending. I suggest you get a lawyer, Mr. Aton. You're going to need one, because if you have a hot temper, and there is no question in my mind that with what I've seen today, that there may be some validity to her complaints, that if she gets a restraining order against you and you violate it, you could go to jail.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She acknowledges that you gave her $236. Okay. She cannot present to me any proof from her bank, the bank that permitted her to forge your signature on a signature card, according to her, yet would not give her a copy of the receipts. So I'm perfectly comfortable on your complaint awarding you $236.
People can be provoked, Your Honor.
I didn't provoke you here,
No,
sir.
I'm not
Nothing
saying...
here provoked you.
No.
Nothing here provoked you. But I could tell that you are easily provoked. You're easily provoked because you think that this is a major deal. We're talking about money. We're not talking about your health.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, it goes much deeper than that, much deeper. Insults, slandering my child. I'm very protective of my family. I almost lost all 3 of them. Almost lost her to cancer. Almost lost my youngest.
So if you are smart and you know that this is money, and you have your wife, and she has her health, right? Money. Not important. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. 29-year-old machinist Daniel McMahon is suing his former live-in girlfriend, 34-year-old store manager Michelle McCartney, for half the deposit on an apartment and the return of his furniture. Michelle is countersuing for Daniel's share of their living expenses.
Order. All rise. The Honor, this is case number 206 on the calendar in the matter of McMahon versus McCarthy. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Have seats, please.
Mr. McMahon, according to the complaint that I read, you and the defendant leased an apartment to live together. When you moved into the apartment, you put down half the security deposit. You also purchased some old furniture together. When you separated, you did not receive your security deposit back, nor the value of half the furniture that you purchased. That's what you want.
That's
right?
correct, Your Honor. The
defendant says this is pretty much a joke because You really owe her money, and she has a counterclaim.
Mm-hmm.
When did you lease this apartment?
I believe it was in July of '98, June or July.
And how long did you live together?
On and off for probably a year and a half.
When did you finally separate?
About probably 5 months ago, permanently.
And how long did you actually live in the apartment?
I actually lived in the apartment full-time for approximately 2 months before I got thrown out the first time.
And then you moved back?
And then I moved back.
Well, so let's have all the months together that you actually lived there.
Probably 4 months straight, on and off for probably a year and a half.
And how much was your security deposit that you put down?
$150.
Now, tell me about this furniture that you purchased together.
First, we bought a washer and dryer. I paid $75. She paid $75.
Okay. What's next?
The next is the furniture, which her aunt was selling, and again, we each paid $75 for the furniture.
No, we did not.
You'll have your
That's
chance.
wrong, Your
You'll
Honor.
have your chance. So that is $275 and $150, $425. How did you pay your half of the rent, which comes to her counterclaim?
With a check.
With checks.
I wrote my checks out to her.
Let me see them.
I don't have them. She packed all my stuff up.
He packed it all himself.
Mr. McMahon.
That's not true.
See, the problem is, she says that you lived together a total of 6 months. You say 4 months. The defendant says that you only paid rent for 2 of those months.
That is correct. But the only reason I paid for the first 2 months because I lived there full time. She threw me out. I had to go move into a whole nother place. And we were broken up. We started seeing each other again, and I had a separate residence.
But then you moved back in, even according to you.
Right, okay.
Sir, listen to me. Then you moved back in, at least according to you, for another 2 months on an apartment where you had a lease.
Right.
And you did not pay rent for those 2 months.
Yes, I did.
No, he didn't.
No, you just told me you didn't pay rent for those 2 months. You said you only paid rent for 2 months.
I wasn't living there full time. I was only spending 2 nights out of the week there. I already moved out into a whole nother place.
No, Mr. McMahon, now you're making that up as you're going along. You just said to me, said to me a moment ago, of the year and a half that you were together, you lived there 4 months, but you only paid rent for 2 months out of the 4.
No, while I was there, if I stayed there for a full month, I would pay for half of that month. If I only spent
That's not what you just told me.
Well, excuse me, Your Honor, I'm a little confused. It was...
Well, let's not get confused, sir.
But I went and got a separate residence, and then we started dating again. I would spend the weekend over there and then go back during the week to my own residence.
He never got his own residence until after the second time I threw him out. He lived with his father after the first time.
Okay, let's talk about the expenses that you say he owes you, Miss McCarthy. Let me hear.
Well, Your Honor, most of what he has said was correct. He was there May and June. I found he was cheating on me, and I threw him out. We reconciled, and he moved back in October, and he was there October, November, and December, and it was shortly after Christmas, 1998, or maybe even after the first of the year, where I threw him out for the second time. He was coming up with all these excuses why he couldn't help me out with the rent, and never paid anything. The day I threw him out, I went to do some laundry, and he had a bad habit of keeping his papers in his pants. I would check his pockets for papers, and I found a receipt for some car stereo equipment that he purchased the day before, and that's when all heck broke loose, and I threw him out.
Why?
Because he kept claiming that he had no money to help me out. You know, he was getting speeding tickets, he was paying for the speeding tickets, he bought $1,000 rims for this Mustang that he owned. The heat would be up to 80 degrees, and he wasn't even there.
All right, so now, I got it.
I was on the lease, though. I'm entitled to turn my own heat up.
Just a second.
But he wasn't paying for it.
I got it.
not true.
I understand the whole scenario. Now, my next question to both of you is, clearly, according to you, October, November, and December of 1998 is when you, in December is when you threw him out ultimately?
Yeah, it was a little after Christmas, maybe even after the first of the year.
Okay, and did he ever move back in?
No.
Why haven't you sued him for the amounts that you claim he owes you?
Well, initially, Your Honor, we got back together around Valentine's Day in 1999.
So you were back together?
Yes, we did. We never moved. He never moved back in. I still live there today.
But in February of 1999, you sort of got back together. How?
He invited me to dinner, bought me a couple dozen roses, and schmoozed his way back in like he always did.
All right. And how long did that schmoozing last?
On and off for about a year. We had a verbal agreement in between all this. because he was upset about the furniture. He threatened to cut it up if he had to in order for him to get his half of it. And once we did get back together, we made a verbal agreement that I was to keep the furniture in my apartment because he hadn't helped me for those 3 months. And that was well and good for us.
Made that agreement.
And all of a sudden I get this lawsuit, and so I said, well, the heck with it. I'm going to just get my money that he owes me.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. So you were prepared to say, forget it,
Yes, I was.
on. Now, Mr. McMahon, I'm going to ask you the same question, sir. What took you so long to file this lawsuit?
We got engaged.
Yes.
She wanted me to move back in. I said, no, not until some issues are resolved.
And when did that engagement terminate?
On my birthday,
What date?
January 30th. I wasn't just going to jump into a lawsuit until I had some time
You
to
should
deal
have
with what I was
jumped into the
feeling.
lawsuit a year and a half ago.
Well, yeah,
If you
you're
believe,
right. You're right.
You're absolutely right. If you believe that she honestly owed you this money, half of a washer and dryer for $75 and a lot of furniture for $75.
It's not the money. It's got nothing to do with the money.
So what does it have to do with?
Your Honor, we had a 3-bedroom apartment. Out of all 3, each bedroom had a closet. I had a quarter of one closet in the master bedroom.
So does my husband.
And I had 2.
And let me tell you, he's a happy man.
And I had 2 drawers. I had
Just a
2
second.
drawers. I
Do you
couldn't even put my
understand?
clothes in there.
He has 2 drawers. Men are lucky if they have a quarter of a closet. They have 1 drawer.
And another
Right?
thing.
Women need more drawers.
And another thing.
And
Your
more
Honor.
closet space.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She took over the whole apartment.
That's what ladies do. They make a nest.
What about me?
My husband knows he can decorate anything in his quarter of the closet.
I didn't get
Period.
And later today,
He shove-kicked me to my growing area, and I didn't do anything.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Daniel McMahon says ex-girlfriend Michelle McCartney won't return his furniture or his share of the deposit on their apartment.
Have you ever been married?
No, ma'am.
That's a very good lesson I'm going to teach you. Don't expect more than a quarter of a closet. Right? If you expect more, never get married.
Okay, and another thing. January 30th, which was my birthday, which was one of the
You
last
have
big
more than a
fights.
quarter of a closet?
A quarter of a closet's
Judge,
ridiculous.
I've been married for 13 years.
Yeah.
I don't even have a quarter of a closet.
The whole apartment had her family all over the wall. I couldn't put any. I had no entity in there at all.
You mean you
No,
couldn't have a
nothing.
picture of your mother or your grandmother
The
up?
walls were full. I couldn't do nothing.
Mr. McMahon.
I'm serious. She took over the whole apartment.
Mr. McMahon.
I had no rights and nothing.
That's what ladies do. They make a nest.
We need.
Here,
There
let me
should be a
explain
little
something
bit
to
of
you.
compromise.
Let me
though,
explain
and there was
something to you.
not.
That's what happens. They make a nest. Right?
What about me?
My husband knows he can decorate anything in his quarter of the closet.
I didn't get.
Period.
I had to step
Don't move
over.
a
I had to
lamp.
I had to
Don't
step
move a
over shoes
picture.
to get to my quarter of the closet.
Get over
Her
it.
shoes.
Listen to me. Your lawsuit, Mr. McMahon, is nonsense. And so is your counterclaim. Nonsense. 2.5 years ago, you started a relationship. You moved into an apartment together. It didn't work out. Your entire investment was at most $425, which includes $150 for some old furniture and an old washer and dryer. How many times did you use the washer and dryer? I want you to think very carefully. How many times did you take clothes, like sheets and towels, from the bathroom and from the beds, take them, put them in the washing machine, wait till it was finished, take it out, put it in the dryer, and fold it up? How many times did you do that?
Plenty of times. If I wasn't being thrown out that week,
No,
I
no.
was doing laundry.
You,
without
if
a
you weren't
doubt.
being thrown, you were doing laundry?
Yeah.
Is that
I
right?
used to do her work
Is that
clothes
right?
for
He was
her.
doing,
Everything
he was
else.
doing the laundry?
Some.
He was doing the
Few and far between. I was mostly doing all of our laundry. But yes, it was used for his clothes, which he had.
I didn't ask you was used for his clothes. I'm talking about sheets and towels and stripping the beds and.
Oh, I did all that. I could hardly even get him to make the bed, never mind
listen to
strip
me.
it.
I'm talking about stripping the beds and putting the sheets in,
And
and
spend
putting the
enough
sheets
time
back on the bed. Who did that?
I did all that.
You did that?
Yeah.
Well, you were honest about the other thing. He did do his own work clothes. Who did the cleaning in the apartment?
I did everything. I did everything, Your Honor.
Like what? I mean, who scrubbed the bathroom floor? Who scrubbed the
did.
kitchen floor?
I did. I wouldn't even let him do the dishes because he would do them in a half-mannered way and they would be all greasy, so I'd have to redo them anyway. That was his lame excuse for not being able to do anything because he didn't know how.
It's called learned helplessness. You do it wrong so nobody asks you to do it again.
That's not
Mr.
true at all.
McMahon, Is it accurate that the housework was done by the defendant?
You know what? I didn't spend enough time in that
Oh, my
apartment to
goodness.
clean anything. If you want to be, if you want the real
No,
deal.
you spent some time there, sir. According to you,
little.
you spent a couple of months there straight, and in addition to the couple of months there straight, 2 or 3 days a week when you were going to your own place. So you were there long enough to dirty the kitchen, dirty the bathroom, dirty the tub, dirty all those things.
If I dirtied something, I cleaned it.
He did
That's
not.
I'm not gonna-
I've heard that before. Mr. McMahon, your lawsuit is nonsense, and so is your counterclaim. They're both dismissed. Get over it.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
One of us was obligated to continue paying that lease, and I did, and I have been paying it ever since. He paid 2 months, and he was on a lease for a
He
year.
wanted me
So,
to pay it while I was living in.
oh well.
I didn't get treated fair in the relationship from Jump Street, and you know, I got taken advantage of.
And now the next case.
All parties on Sias versus Graham. Step forward, please.
55-year-old Asian arts instructor Ted Sias is suing 19-year-old carpet installer William Graham for assaulting him while riding his bike.
According to your complaint, Mr. Sias, you were riding your bike to work. What kind of work do you do?
I teach internal health arts in Huntington Beach.
In a
I'm doing-
school.
Yes, ma'am.
And a car that was being driven by one of these two young men
Mr. Graham.
somehow passed by you, and he shouted something out the window, which made you angry.
It startled me. It scared me.
Startled you.
Yes.
So you got angry.
Yes.
And what you did in response was to ride your bike on an overpass where you were, and when you saw his car passing under the underpass, you picked up a rock and threw it at his car.
Yes, ma'am, but it was actually a pebble, and I brought the approximate size that I dropped.
Pebble, rock, you threw a something at his car.
Yes.
That made Mr. Graham very angry,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And you got off the expressway to find him,
Yes, ma'am.
because you saw him do it.
Yes, ma'am.
And there was a confrontation. And that's what this lawsuit is about, because you said that during the course of that confrontation, Mr. Graham injured you and broke your bike.
Yes.
So let's start out. You're pedaling along, going to work. His car comes alongside you, and what does he say to you?
It wasn't him. It was his passenger that screamed at me.
What did his passenger say?
I don't know. It was just a holler, a very loud holler. I wasn't.
Which startled you.
Yes, ma'am.
And then what did you do?
Well, I about fell off my bike. Then I picked up this little pebble, and I was thinking about dropping it. And when they pulled around, then he gave me the birdie. That was it. That's all it took to send me the rest of the way. So I did drop it. I wasn't dropping the pebble to cause damage. I was dropping the pebble as more of an act of, you do this to me, I do this to you, but I wasn't striving for revenge. I lost my head.
Yeah, but he didn't do anything to you, sir, that involved any physical touching.
I think
His
it's
passenger
Yes, ma'am.
said something to startle you.
I think it's an accumulation of years of riding and getting people throwing things at me and hollering at me. I guess that one time I've been tired. I was riding my bike for 12 miles that day. I just lost it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You see the passenger?
Yes, he was, ma'am.
Did you do that? Up! Right there.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ted Sias says William Graham assaulted him while out riding his bike. William claims Ted threw a rock at his car.
What was the first thing that was said?
I asked him, ma'am, I said, why did you throw a rock in my car? He then got off his bike, and he says, well, you know, you screamed at me. And I'm like, who screamed at you?
Well,
You know,
it's
it could-
clear he didn't scream at
We
you.
were...
Just a minute. He didn't scream at you.
Yes, ma'am, he did.
Somebody else did. Go ahead.
It could have been possible that we had been goofing around, laughing, whatever, you know, the case may be in the car, what you do with
Whatever. Somebody in your car
Yeah.
spooked him. Right?
That must have happened somehow. It wasn't intentional.
Was he the passenger?
Yes, he was, ma'am.
Did you do that? Up! Right there. Right where the finger is. Did you do that to the bike rider?
I was...
No, look at me.
I'm sorry. I was singing in the car, yelling, having a good time, not yelling at anyone out of the car, intentionally.
Did you realize you had startled him?
No.
Now sit down. Go ahead.
Okay, so then he pushes me once. I push his hand down. I say, don't touch me again. He pushes me again, I push his hand down, and after I push his hand down the second time, he shove-kicked me to my groin area. And I didn't do anything. Then I was going to call the cops. He got on his bike like he was going to leave. And I said, where are you going? And he said,
oh, I'm leaving now, like that. And he's like, you're wasting my time. I said, yeah, thanks a lot. I just got my car painted. I just got my car painted, and he dropped a rock and chipped like on the roof of my car. And he says, well, now it just gives you something to do, doesn't it? He gets back off his bike, pushes me one more time. I push his hand down again, and then he kicked me harder in the same exact area, the same type of kick in the groin. And at that time, I grabbed his leg. He went to swing at me, and I hit him in the head, and then I hit him a couple more times. He fell over his bike, which was right behind him. Once he was on the ground, I held him down. This is all in a position where I had a broken collarbone at the time because I was in an accident maybe a month before at the most, and I had a cast on my hand from torn ligaments. So I was really in no position to be starting a fight.
What kind of accident? Car accident?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sayers, you want to tell me your version of the event, sir?
Basically, he's saying something effective, you're going to pay for it, you're going to pay for it, or you're going to apologize. I can't remember which one or both. And he kept trying to get closer to me, and I kept telling him to stay away. I said it numerous times. I did what's called a push kick towards his groin. It was not meant to cause any pain. He says, what was that?
But you did do that.
I did do that, yes, I did.
And he hadn't put his hands on you yet.
He was kept getting...
No. He had not put his hands on you.
No, ma'am, not yet. I did what I could, which was non-lethal. I pushed towards his face to make him lean back to go away. I pushed towards his groin.
He didn't kill you either, Mr. Sayers. That's not lethal.
If you look at the picture, you'll see it's probably lethal. My face doesn't look too pretty. I probably got a birthmark that'll last me the rest of my life. You want...
Sure, I'll take a look.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. That's not lethal. Nasty, but not lethal.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
You don't say anything in your complaint, Mr. Sayers, about your putting your hands on the defendant first. He's a young man, and very often people say, well, young kids, you know, they're going to lose their temper and they're going to get out of control. I think that it happens with men when they reach maybe age 50. You're not 50 yet, are you?
Nowhere near.
I know, they do have as sometimes what you describe as road rage. You went to the top of an overpass, you picked up a pebble. You say it was a very small pebble. It may have been, but certainly enough. If that falls on your car fast enough and shatters a windshield, that can cause you to lose control of the car, and it can cause you to go into a tree, another car, another person. It can cause very serious damage, injury, and can cause death. And then when he confronted you, when he stopped the car, which was his absolute right because he had done nothing to you, his partner over here maybe was singing too loud, maybe he was trying to frighten you, maybe he was acting like a jerk, which is possible, because I'm looking at him, and it's possible. But he didn't do anything to you. When he confronted you, instead of apologizing, you put your hands on him first, twice. And it looks to me, at the end of the day, you got the worst of it.
Obviously.
That's too bad. Your case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will get 26-year-old entrepreneur Corey Howard is suing his ex-girlfriend, 19-year-old waitress Christina Yancey, for keying his truck, vandalizing his home, and not paying for a ring. Christina's mother, Catherine, has a separate lawsuit claiming Corey broke into her home and set fire to her deck.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 179 on the calendar in the matter of Howard versus Yancey. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
I have two cases in this mishmash that I'm going to try to sort out. According to you, Mr. Howard, you and the defendant dated for a while.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have certain complaints against her that date back to December
Yes, ma'am.
of 1999.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
So let's deal with them. First, you claim that your now ex-girlfriend,
Yes, ma'am.
sometime in early December, was angry with you about something and she keyed your car.
Certainly.
Certainly. Then, after she keyed your car, a couple of days later, you had a fight and she vandalized your house.
Right.
And then you complain that in April, you bought her a ring.
Yes, ma'am.
So first she vandalized your car. Then she vandalized your house. And then you bought her a ring.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I'm trying to just follow the scenario here.
Okay.
And you claim that this ring that you purchased for her was not an engagement ring, and there was an agreement with her that she would pay for half of the ring.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what you want, half of the ring.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me the circumstances surrounding her keying your car?
It was about 7:45 in the evening. She called me and said, I'm getting off work. Can you come and get me? So I go out to pick her up. She got in the car, and I said we were probably traveling for probably about 10 or 15 minutes. And out of the middle of nowhere, we're sitting at the red light, and she smacks me. And I'm like, what was that about? And she was like, because I think it was one of her friends indicated to her that they saw somebody in the car with me earlier that day.
Of the female persuasion?
Yes, ma'am. So I said, Chris, what are you talking about? I've been at work all day. What are you talking about? So I proceeded, because I had to go back to my office to pick up one of my employees. So I went back to my office. I got out of my truck. I went into the building. When I came back, one of my employees said, she just keyed your truck.
No, I can't hear that, sir.
Huh?
Unless you have the employee here, I can't hear what somebody else said.
Okay. And I asked her, I said, did you just key my truck? She said, yeah.
So you asked her?
Yeah, I asked her. And she said, yeah, I keyed your truck.
Why'd you do that?
I didn't, Your Honor.
Did you say you had?
No.
Did you key it a little bit? Now listen, that's not saying he didn't forgive you.
Okay.
Because he might have forgiven you later, because he did buy the rig, right?
Right.
But you have to tell me the truth, because then if you tell a lie to me once, then I don't believe anything else that you say. Do you understand?
Yes.
Did you key his truck a little bit?
No, Your Honor, I didn't.
Did you have any discussion with him about keying your truck?
No, not that I did it, but we discussed it.
When?
I don't remember the dates or whatnot, but I was driving his truck one day, and I noticed that it was dented and scratched up. And I said, you know, your truck is keyed up. And he said that he had no knowledge of it.
Okay. So after she said, according to you, that yes, she keyed your truck, what did you do?
I was angry about my truck, and I asked her, I said, you know, why do you always tear up my car when you're mad at me? My car doesn't do anything to you. You know what I'm saying?
And did you see her the next day?
As a matter of fact, I did, because I indicated to her, I said, well, my insurance company says if I know who vandalized the truck, then I have to file charges against them, you know? And she was like, well, I can't believe you're going to file charges against me. I'm not going to file charges against you.
So you signed a statement to the insurance company that you didn't know?
I never signed a statement. I didn't even file the claim, Your Honor.
You have pictures of the scratch marks?
As a matter of fact, I don't, because when we went to get them developed, yesterday they exposed them.
So you have no pictures?
No, ma'am, I don't.
You have an estimate?
No, I didn't, because
Fine, then let's move on from the truck. Let's move on to the house.
Okay.
Tell me what happened.
Well, I had some friends that came over. In particular, one of my friends that came over there, she suspected that I was messing around with. And that wasn't necessarily the truth.
Not necessarily?
Not necessarily, no, ma'am. Chris had really aggravated me that particular day. So I kind of wanted her to leave. But Chris is one of those people who just would not leave. All right? So I asked another young lady if she would take Chris out the house and go for a ride or whatever. And she said, yeah. So the young lady and Chris left and went for a ride. So I went upstairs to take a shower. Chris came back. She was ringing the doorbell. My instructions to the people who were at my house that particular night was, if Chris comes back, do not let her in. So when they refused to let her in, Chris broke the window.
Did you break the window?
I didn't mean to break the window, Your Honor.
So the answer is you broke the window?
Yes, I did break the window.
And how did you break the window?
Knocking on it. It was this thin window. I was knocking on the window. At first I was ringing the doorbell. As I was knocking on the window, my hand went straight through the window. No cuts or bruises.
Okay. And then what happened?
Chris was pulling off in her car as I was coming downstairs. So we started to clean up all the glass. About 15 minutes later, Chris came back, and she stabbed my back tire out my car.
Did you see her do that?
As a matter of fact, I did, because I couldn't get out the house in time enough before she was able to get back to her car. And I did get back to her car, but she had rolled her window up and took off.
Were you really mad?
I didn't do that, Your Honor.
Didn't slash his tire?
No.
If I might say something, Ashante was a witness to the fact that she did stab my tire.
Step up. Over there. You were there that evening?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me, where were you when you saw her slash the tire?
On the couch.
You were sitting on the couch?
Yes, because I heard somebody pull it back up. So I looked out the window because the window was already broken, so we was trying to fix it. She was getting out of her car, running up to the car, stabbing the tire, jumped back in her car and burrowed out. So, yes, Your Honor, she slashed the tire. I was there. I seen that.
Okay, so she slashed your tire. Did you have it fixed?
Oh, yes, ma'am, I did.
How much did it cost you?
It was approximately $148.47.
So you bought a new tire?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And you have a bill for that?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I see it, please?
Yes.
Okay, so you forgave her for breaking your window, you forgave her for slashing your tire.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Your Honor, I felt as if it was necessary to forgive her because, in many senses, it was inappropriate for me to have a guest at my house who should not have been there.
They're not necessarily guest.
Right. It was rather inappropriate for me to have her there.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
Where's the ring?
I lost the ring.
Did you buy her a new one?
As a matter of fact, I did, Your Honor.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Corey Howard claims ex-girlfriend Christina Yancey keyed his truck and vandalized his home. Corey also says Christina owes him for the value of a ring.
So let me hear about it.
As far as he's saying about he had a female guest there was no one there but my best friend, Shantae, and Mr. Howard.
So what were you angry about? You did go for a ride with this young lady.
I didn't go for a ride anywhere. I stayed there, and then I left. I went to the store. I came back.
And when you came back, they wouldn't let you in.
They wouldn't let me in.
Why do you think they wouldn't let you in?
I have the slightest idea.
You have to have some idea, madam. Otherwise, they're acting in a psychotic fashion.
Well, there was another car. It was a car there. When I left, the car wasn't there. But when I came back, the car was there. It was another car there.
Another car there that you suspected was a woman's car?
I don't know, Your Honor.
Well, that, you know, something must have been going through your mind, madam. You're banging at the door with sufficient force to break a window. They won't let you in the house. You must have been pretty annoyed. He was your boyfriend, right?
You're right.
Okay. Did you ever have a discussion with her about the tire?
As a matter of fact, I did. And
I assumed that you did. Yeah. Let me about the discussion about the tire.
Yeah. And she said the reason why I cut your tire was because you wouldn't answer the door.
Sounds right.
You know, and
Sounds right. Sounds right. Okay. I have the tire here on your side, sir.
Yes.
Let's get to the ring.
Okay. The very day that she purchased the bracelet that she's wearing right now, she said to me...
You were shopping together?
Yeah, we were shopping together.
Okay, so you went into a jewelry store.
We went into a jewelry store.
That's always dangerous.
Which was owned by one of my friends, okay?
Yes.
And she says, I want to buy... I had given her like $300 that particular day. And she said she...
You gave her $300 in cash?
Yes, ma'am, while we were shopping, because we split up in the mall, so I gave her $300.
Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. That was nice of you.
I was very nice to her, Your Honor. And what happened was, she came in the jewelry store, and she saw that very bracelet that she's wearing right now, and I says, I can't afford it, I'm buying me a ring. You know, I said, I gave you some money, so you buy it. So she went in her pocket and bought that bracelet. At the time, she says, oh, I want that ring right there. I can't afford that ring. I said, but if you split the cost with me, I will buy the ring. And she agreed to split the cost for the ring.
How much was the ring?
I think the ring was like a wholesale. I got the ring at a wholesale value, so I think it ended up being like $4 something. You know, but the retail value on it was like $1,000.
I don't care what the retail value is. How much did you pay for the ring?
I didn't pay anything, Your Honor. When we met up, he took me to the jewelry store. He had a diamond ring in his hand. He said, do you like this ring? I said, oh, yes, it's beautiful. He was like, do you want it? I was like, yes. He put it on my finger. He paid for the ring.
Well, he says he paid for the ring, but he says that that was sort of extra. He'd given you $300 and you saw something that you liked for over and above, and you said you'd split the cost with him.
This is what I saw that I liked it, the tennis bracelet, which was $99.
Right.
I paid for it out the money he bought me.
So you're wearing that, right? You're wearing the tennis bracelet. Where's the ring?
I lost the ring. And I told him that.
That's not what she told me, Your Honor. She indicated that she had placed the ring in a jewelry box in her room, and she said that her mother's boyfriend had went into the room and stole the ring when she was not at home. And I said, how did your mom's boyfriend steal the ring when you're not at home?
Did you buy her a new one?
As a matter of fact, I did, Your Honor. As a matter of fact, I did buy her a new one.
What? No, it says that here.
So I went back to my friend Tony and I said, Tony, you know that ring I bought? I said, do you have another one just like it? Well, of course, this ring was a very nice ring.
All right, so you got her another one.
Yes, ma'am.
Where's the other one that he got you?
It's at home, Your Honor.
Uh-huh. She didn't offer to pay for half of that one.
No, she didn't, Your Honor.
All right. All right, so far what I have on your side, sir, it's $148.47. Because if you were really interested in getting half the money back for this original ring that you bought, you wouldn't have bought her another one, right?
No, that's not necessarily true.
Yeah, well, it's necessarily true. So on your side is $148.47 because she slashed your tire. Madam. Okay. Now that takes care of that case. Now, I want you to stand over there.
Okay.
You to sit down over there. And I would like Miss Catherine Yancey right over there. Party's been sworn?
They've already been sworn, Judge.
Good, thank you. Now, you're her mother.
Yes.
It is your complaint that Mr. Howard vandalized your house and later set it on fire. And that, according to you, happened on the 6th of June.
Yes.
Of 2000. So, let me hear about it.
I came home from a meeting approximately 9:30 in the evening. My daughter told me that Corey Howard came to my house looking for her, said that he broke my front window. He went to the car and got a tire iron or hammer or something and broke the front window. So I was going to the police station to make a report, and he pulls up on the side street. So I pulled next to him to ask him, why does he keep coming to my house? Why does he keep coming around? He said that he wanted everything that he ever bought for that bee. Specifically, he wanted this ring. So I asked her where the ring was. She told me she lost the ring. He said that she told him that my boyfriend stole the ring. And I told him that that was ridiculous. I didn't want to hear anymore because there's no way that my boyfriend would steal a ring.
She's a fibber, you know, your daughter. She's a fibber.
Okay, well, I know my boyfriend would not
No,
steal
I
a ring.
understand that.
So I took off to go to the police station. He followed me on my bumper, you know, trying to intimidate me. We continued to the police station to make the report. When I came home from the police station, my deck had been set on fire. Neighbor across the street said he saw.
Don't tell me what your neighbor across the street said unless that person is here to testify. Step up next to your mother, please. Let me just hear about the broken window.
Well, me and Corey, he called, and he was like, you know, do you want to hook up? And I was like, no. He's like, why? Asking me why, and my phone hung up on him. I was on the porch with my neighbor at the time. He pulled up. I ran in the house because I didn't know what he was going to do.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She says, you didn't have to give me the money for the abortion because my real baby daddy gave me the money for the abortion.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Catherine Yancey claims her daughter's ex-boyfriend, Corey Howard, broke into her home and set fire to her deck.
And then what happened?
He's ringing the doorbell. B, come out of here. You better bring your butt out of here. Cussing, just making a lot of ruckus. I'm looking out the window from my room, and I see Corey pop his trunk and get like a tire thing out. He proceeded to walk towards the house with this thing in his hand. At that point, I ran out the back door, over the fence and next door to my neighbor's house. When I was outside, I heard a slash noise. Finally, when he did pull off, I went back to my house next door. My mother's stained glass window was broken.
Did you do that?
No, ma'am, I did not break the window. As a matter of fact, on the particular day that she claims that I broke the window, I was in a staff meeting with all 4 of my sales managers on that particular day.
So
now,
you're telling me that not only didn't you break her window, but you didn't see her mother that day either. So her mother's lying too. You didn't even see her mother?
I did see her mom that day.
Driving away from her house?
No, I was not driving away from her house when I saw her mother.
Where were you?
As a matter of fact, maybe I should just tell how all of this originated. I was out on vacation, all right? Christina called me the whole time I was in New Orleans, okay? Christina says, I'm pregnant. I want you to give me $300 to have an abortion. I said, Christina, I'm not giving you anything, okay? First of all, because I'm not the only person you're sleeping with, okay? On this particular day, Christina called me, and she says, I just called you to tell you that you didn't have to give me the money for the abortion because my real baby daddy gave me the money for the abortion. I said, hey, ain't no problem, wasn't no sweat off my back. You understand what I'm saying? Even though I was angry, infuriated, okay, I was just really upset, you know. I passed by her house. I was on the phone with Christina. We got into an argument. I did not break the window. I did not set their house on fire or whatever.
To get a
that is.
house on fire, there are no witnesses to you setting a house on fire. She says she saw you break the window.
I did not break a window.
Did you bang on her door?
As a matter of fact, I did not, Your Honor, because I never went to her house. I'm not
As a
going to lie.
matter of fact, okay. How much did it cost you to fix the window?
I haven't had the window fixed yet.
So you have no estimate?
Yeah, I have estimates of the fire damage.
I'm not interested in the fire damage. You have no witnesses with regard to the fire damage.
Okay, what I do have is police reports where my witnesses did give a report to the police.
That's insufficient in court. What's sufficient is that you have a witness.
And I also have phone numbers that they said you may be able to call. Both of the witnesses are there.
No. That's a far too serious issue to make a determination by picking up a phone.
Will you not take the police report with arson report?
Oh, absolutely not. Did they arrest him?
No, they won't arrest him.
Of course they won't arrest him. If you had a witness that the police found believable that witnessed him committing arson, they would have arrested him. Arson is a very, very serious felony. Do you understand? You have an estimate for the window.
It has the fire and the window. Repair front stained glass window,
Yeah,
yes.
that I'll see.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
The stained glass window was $75. Listen, I don't think that either one of you two young people would know the truth if it came up and bit you in the behind. I think that when you come to court and you testify in a court, the judge is supposed to be able to make a determination based on truthfulness. That's a hard thing when it comes to you two. However, I do find, madam, that you slashed his tire, and therefore he is getting the $148 that he spent to fix the tire that you slashed. And I do find, sir, that you broke a window. I can't make a determination that you committed arson, although that would be a really serious crime. But I do find that you did, in fact, break a window, and according to the estimate from our insurance, it's going to cost $75. So in your case, I'm awarding you $75, and on your case, sir, $148.47. Thank you. This case is over.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will Bridget Johnson claims ex-boyfriend Robert Jones owes for an assault and for funeral costs for their child. Robert claims the deceased child wasn't his.
Seat, please.
Miss Jones, according to the complaint that I've read, the defendant was your boyfriend. He became pregnant sometime in 2005.
Yes.
You broke up with the defendant and you were pregnant at the time.
Yes.
It is your claim that he assaulted you, and as a result of that assault, your baby was born prematurely and died. You want the defendant to pay for half of the baby's funeral expenses and damages for the assault.
Yes.
Mr. Jones says that you were the one who assaulted him, as a matter of fact, on the day that you broke up, that he never agreed to pay for the child's funeral expenses. As a matter of fact, he wasn't even positive that the child was his and told you that he had wanted a blood test before he assumed responsibility of the baby. That's your defense?
Yes, it is.
Okay. When did you become pregnant, Miss Johnson?
I found out I was pregnant July 22nd.
Of what year?
2005.
And were you living with Mr. Jones at the time?
Robert was staying with me along with his son because he was having arguments with his mother.
Did you move in with her in July or before that time?
I'll be staying over, you know.
You were staying over?
Yeah.
Okay. And when did you break up?
November 20th as a result of the assault.
Just listen to me. Had he slept at the house the night before?
Yes.
And the night before that?
Yes.
So tell me what happened on November the 20th.
November the 20th, I received a phone call from Rob at about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, then he hadn't been at your house 3 o'clock in the morning.
No, he was at the bars. He would frequently go to the bars and then come over to my house afterwards. And he had called me at 3 o'clock in the morning stating that he was going to come over. I ran downstairs and unlocked the door like I would usually do, and he didn't come in. So after a while, I looked out my window and saw that the car was parked and the headlights were on and the car was still running. So I laid there for a couple more minutes and then got dressed. And when I walked outside, I saw that Rob was passed out in the driver's seat. So I crawled into the passenger seat and woke him up and asked him, you know, what he was doing and why he hadn't come in the house, and he told me that he didn't know. So we were trying to get the headlights of the vehicle to turn off. They wouldn't turn off. So I suggested that we just unplug the battery. I was 5 months pregnant. I didn't want to be fighting with him. I would much rather just go to bed. He wanted me to, you know, be with him that night, and he wanted to be around me. So I stated, you know, let's just unplug the battery. We couldn't figure out the lights. So he started to proceed to back out of my driveway. I told him that he was drunk, that I didn't want to go anywhere with him. And he wasn't listening to me, so I leaned over and smacked him in the face. I went like this to the front of his face. He then looked at me, told me to do that again, and I looked at him and said, "What did you mean?" And the next thing I knew, he punched me in my face.
So first you punched him and then he punched you?
Yeah, I didn't punch him.
No, just a second. So first you punched him.
Yes.
And then he punched you?
Yes.
Okay, now I got it.
But the only reason I hit him is because he wasn't listening to me and he wouldn't stop the vehicle.
I got you.
So then my nose...
He wasn't listening to you?
Yes.
Why don't you just take the keys out of the ignition?
I didn't think of that.
Shouldn't have gotten in the car in the first place.
I shouldn't have told him to come over that evening.
That's also correct.
Knowing that he was drunk.
That is also correct.
Yes,
okay,
I agree.
Keep going.
I realized that my nose was bleeding very, very badly. So I opened the car door and I half jumped out of the car, and he like kind of gave me a little push along with it because he was laughing at the time. And I ran in the house and proceeded to call my mother first. And
so you weren't too far from where the house was?
No, I live on the second house at the corner of the block, and we were at the corner of the block.
Keep going.
I called my brother and he took me to the emergency room.
And what did they do for you there?
I first saw a police officer and they went to arrest Rob.
That doesn't answer my question. What did they do for you in the emergency room?
At the emergency room, they took x-rays of my face, and I was having a sharp pain that was shooting from my back to my stomach. So then I was told that I had to go up to the maternity floor for monitoring on the baby.
And that was in November?
Yes.
And when was the baby born?
The baby was born in February.
February what?
7th.
How much did she weigh?
She weighed 2 pounds, 2 ounces.
And when did she pass away?
The 11th.
Between November 20th and February 7th, did you see the defendant?
I saw him at the court dates.
Other than that?
No, because there was a court order for him to not be within 1,000 feet of me.
Now, when did you have this conversation with him with regard to paying for the baby's funeral expenses?
Okay, the first conversation I had with Robert was when he called me in late June after Father's Day. And I said, well, I kind of need money, you know, we should be paying for her gravestone, and I have funeral expenses that I couldn't get a grant from the state from everything. And he told me that he would give me $200 in August, and that him and his mother could save that together. I then called him on August 24th, and he told me he didn't have the money. So I said that I would pay the rest of it and that he could just pay me back. And he proceeded to say that that was fine. The next time I spoke to Robert was on September 17th when he called me and asked me if I wanted to go fishing with him with him. So I said, yeah, that I would go fishing because I wanted to speak to him about, the money.
Don't tell me why. You agreed to go fishing with him?
Yes. I knew
that. Is
that.
this the first time you had seen him other than the courthouse? Listen to me.
No.
Other than the court proceeding, is this the first time you saw him since November?
Other than court and then our daughter's birth, no.
Well, you didn't tell me about the daughter's birth.
My sister called him the morning that I was supposed to have a cesarean section. I was diagnosed with preeclampsia, which is high blood pressure, and then it becomes toxic and it affects the baby's heart rate. And the first time I had high blood pressure was December 20th, and it proceeded to get worse throughout the pregnancy due to stress-related causes.
Don't tell me what it was due to, madam, unless you're a physician. Are you a physician?
No.
Good. Go ahead.
My sister called him the morning that I was supposed to have the cesarean section. He showed up shortly after our daughter was born, and I asked him if it would be okay with him to go up with her to the hospital up in the cities, because we live in Mankato, and she was being airlifted to Minneapolis. He said that he would go and be with her because they didn't expect her to live past the night. The next day, I was released from the hospital, and the following morning, Robert came down from the cities and took us up to the cities where the hospital was because we weren't aware of where it was.
What do you mean he took you? How did he take you?
We followed him.
What do you mean you followed him?
My mother and sister and I followed him in a different vehicle. Him and his mother drove in their own vehicle. So when we got to the cities, he went to a basketball tournament and left us with my daughter so I could spend time with her. And then later on that evening, he came back to the hospital when I was at the hotel the following day.
I'm asking you when you spent time with him.
I didn't spend...
You didn't see him at the hospital?
No, he left as soon as he got us there. We got up to the room.
You didn't see him in the hospital is my question.
No, yes, I seen him at the hospital.
How many times did you see him in the hospital?
Just that first day.
So the baby died in February.
Yes.
Between February and September 17th, when he called to go fishing, did you see him?
On occasion, out and about, you know, at like local stores, yes.
Other than seeing him at local stores, did you have a cup of coffee with him? Did you have a sandwich with him? Did you go out to a movie with him?
No.
Is that true, sir?
It's true.
So what prompted you to call her up to go fishing on September 17th?
Actually, she called me, and I just had mentioned we were going fishing. And if she, if she wanted to come, it was a beautiful day out. So she said, sure. So went fishing, took her home, that was it.
Go ahead. So continue with your story, madam. Here we are.
We went fishing.
We are now September 17th fishing, and he hasn't given you any money.
And when we went fishing, Robert and I took his mother to Cub Foods so that she could get milk for the house before he dropped me off at my apartment, which is about 3 blocks away from Cub Foods, which is a local grocery store.
Just keep going, please. I don't need a map of the town. Keep moving.
So after we dropped his mother off at Cub Foods, it was him and I in the vehicle, and I brought up the money, and he told me that he had bills himself that he needed, and I proceeded to leave the vehicle. And then at the powwow, I saw him and brought up the money again, and that's actually
So you
why
weren't afraid of him?
No. Not when he's not drinking.
No, you weren't afraid of him.
No, I'm not scared of him unless...
Why in the world, some 2 years later, are you suing him now for assault?
I just think that he owes me the money. I was emotionally distraught from the loss of my daughter.
I want to know why you didn't sue him before you went fishing with him.
I didn't want to go through the court proceedings.
Well, what prompted you now to go through a court proceeding to sue him for a punch that happened 2 years ago?
The fact that he won't pay for our daughter's funeral expenses.
Did he ever tell you that he wasn't sure that the baby was his?
No, he never told me that. And if he didn't think that the baby was his, why would he go up to the cities and sit with her?
I don't know. I'm going to find out. Tell me what happened on November 20th, Mr. Jones.
Okay, I had broken up with her earlier that day because she was real emotional, and she was kind of abusive towards me. She would hit me in my chest or whatever. She did it like she knew because I wouldn't hit her, and she knew that I'm not a violent person. I never hit a female ever in my life, and I broke up with her earlier that day.
Well, tell me about breaking up with her earlier that day.
I was actually going to play ball with my friends, which I always did, and she kind of got emotional and started, kind of crying.
No,
she cried a lot.
Kind of if you remembered what she said, if you remember as closely to what happened, please, I would
we weren't getting along before this either, so on that day, I told her that it was over.
Is that right, madam?
No.
Before he went out to the bar that night, because clearly you had to unlock the door because you would lock the door, so clearly he wasn't living with you at that moment. Did he discuss with you earlier in the day on November 20th that he was not happy with the relationship?
No, he had never once tried to or attempted to tell me that he was not happy in our relationship.
Okay, keep going.
Okay, and so I called her and told her that I was going to come get my things.
What time?
This was at about 2:30.
In the morning?
In the morning.
You crazy? Why would you call at 2:30 in the morning to say you were getting your things?
The bar was right by her place.
So you had been in the bar, Mr. Jones? Yeah.
And I wasn't all like how she made it out to be.
I don't care whether you were all that. This is not an appropriate thing to do. To go 2:30 in the morning, to go while you're slightly inebriated, to get behind the wheel of a car and go anywhere, to settle anything.
Yep.
You're supposed to wait until the morning.
Okay, so I went and grabbed tried to grab my things. I told her that, I just came to get my things and that it was over, and she kind of got mad because she didn't want to never break it off anyways. And prior to this, she had injured herself twice at work to get my attention. She would, I'm at the emergency room, come down. And she, according to her, was in a car accident that rolled or whatever. This is all her stories, and I never had proof of anything, so.
How many times did you go to the emergency room with her prior to November 20th?
Just the day this kid was born. But after she had gotten pregnant, she told me that, like, just like weeks after I found out, she said that we got into an argument. She said she's early enough in her pregnancy where she can say somebody else is the father. And I said, well, how do I know that's not what you're doing to me? And I tried going to her first doctor's appointment, and she left me sitting out in the lobby.
Okay, got it. Did you ever tell her that you and your mother could save up $200 until August?
Yes, I did.
And that you would give her $200?
Yeah, I said that basically so she would just, you know,
I don't care why you said it.
Yeah.
Did you tell her that?
Yes, I did.
Now, let's get back to November 20th. You said you were coming to pick up your things 2:30 in the morning.
Yep.
2:30 in the morning you got there, and?
She opened the door, and she didn't want me in. And I wasn't going to barge in because that's not how I am.
Fine, so?
So she basically hit me in my eye because I told her I wanted my things, and it was over. And she hit me in my eye, closed the door, looked out the window, and I said, that's fine. That's the last time you'll ever hit me. And I walked all, her sister actually dropped them off at my work.
Is what you're telling me that she never got into your car?
She never did.
All right, I'd like to see the police report, please.
Yes, and I have pictures.
I'd like to see the police report, please.
If I could say something, too, there was never even a police weren't even there.
Sir, you pled guilty to 5th-degree assault, according to the plaintiff.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so? All right, so you told the police that he doesn't live with you. That's what you told the police.
I told the police that he was staying at his mother's house.
You told the police that you do not live together and that he stays on and off, but he lives with his mother. Who are you?
Robert Armando's mother.
Stand up, please. Your last name is?
Jones.
Miss Jones, you told the police when they came to your house on November the 20th to go downstairs and get your son. Is that right?
Right.
You told him to go downstairs and get your son because he came home drunk.
Right.
And he was passed out on the couch.
Right.
Right. And you, sir, when you were questioned by the police, you were so drunk that you denied even being over at your girlfriend's house.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know, Mr. Jones, there is absolutely no indication here, nor, I assume, do you have any medical testimony that would indicate a correlation between your baby's death 2 months after you got this black eye, because that's what it was, and the baby's illness.
No.
No. So what you're suing him for is for the simple assault of giving you a black eye and the $200 he promised you for the baby's headstone. He's not responsible with regard to any of the other baby's expenses because there is no indication that this is in fact his child. In order to do that, you either have to be married, which you are not, or you have to have a blood test, which would establish that he's the father. Then he would be responsible for half of any unrecovered expenses for the child. Since you don't have that, the only thing that you have to sue him on is his agreement that he would pay you $200 towards the child's headstone, which was really gratuitous, but he promised he would. You relied on that. That you have to pay, sir. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Since there is no correlation between the injury to your eye and what subsequently happened to the baby, I have to examine the circumstances surrounding what happened on that day. There's no question in my mind that he was drunk, that he has no recollection of what happened that day, that he's making it up as he's going along, because he even denied to the police that he was there that day. Even your mother was disgusted with you, sir. Is that a fair statement, Miss Jones?
Right.
Okay. Now, you pled guilty to assaulting her, sir.
Yes, I did.
And you received probation?
Nope, I just got a $500 fine.
No, he was placed on probation for 1 year.
Sir, you better start remembering things that happened to you.
I never was. I was supposed to get a probation officer. I never did.
I don't care whether you were supposed to, whether they never followed through and gave you a probation officer. Maybe you forgot. But if you were supposed to get a probation officer, it wasn't because they were giving you a probation officer for your birthday. They were giving you a probation officer because you were on probation. You have to learn, Mr. Jones, that there are consequences. However, Ms. Johnson, you don't get any awards for being the brightest bulb in the pack. When you're 5 months pregnant and your boyfriend calls 3 o'clock in the morning and says, I'm at a bar and I'm coming over, you lock your door and you keep it closed. You don't go outside to try to figure out how to get the lights off and disconnect his battery.
Yeah.
And you don't punch him in the face. But he started the problem by coming over there in the first place, which was really very stupid. And that, Mr. Jones, is going to cost you $500. So I'm issuing a judgment in the amount of $700, $200 for the baby's headstone and $500 for this 2-year-old assault. Thank you very much. That's all.
25-year-old Aaron London is suing his former co-worker, Corey Bell, for defaming his character. Aaron claims Corey passed around a phony Craigslist ad.
Mr. London, did you and the defendant work in the same company?
Yes, at one point we did.
This is your complaint. You put an ad in Craigslist. I gather you went to school to become a massage therapist?
Yes.
And you put an ad on Craigslist for massages with your picture on it. Does it have your picture?
Yes.
Mr. Bell saw that ad on Craigslist. Is that right, sir?
I did.
And he thought it was really funny that you had posted that ad on Craigslist. So far, am I right?
Yes.
So he circulated it around the office. He sent it to a lot of other people. He thought it was funny, like, you know, like people send jokes on the computer, and he sent it to a whole lot of other people. So you're suing him for defamation because you were very embarrassed.
Yes.
That's what this is all about. Mr. London, can I see the ad, please?
Yeah.
Okay, so this says, hello ladies, imagine casting your eyes upon this gorgeous whatever. It's got pictures of you, right? And it says, massage for big, beautiful women. Reply to personals, it looks like a number at Craigslist.org. And when people reply to this personal, they get you. Is that right?
Well, they get transferred to an email, yeah.
But it's you.
No, not in this particular case. There's a little bit more to the story that hasn't been revealed yet.
Sir, all I want to know is, it comes back to you.
Yes.
Now, is this the same ad that you sent to other people?
Yes.
You didn't modify it in any way?
No, didn't modify
You didn't change it, you didn't add words,
No,
you didn't...
no, I didn't. I just sent the link.
You sent the link and you said, take a look at this.
That's it.
That's not a crime, Mr. London. That's not a crime. That's not a lawsuit.
Yeah, there's a little bit more to it.
Well,
though.
give me 30 seconds, sir. That's what happened. You put this ad that you didn't want to be circulated among your office mates. He circulated it among your office mates. If you didn't want it out there, you shouldn't have printed it.
Well, no, that actually isn't what happened. What happened is I work for the bank, and I also have a personal training and massage therapy business, like you said. And another kind of job side also that I do is I write personal ads for Craigslist. Also ads for businesses, whoever needs advertising.
Very nice. I'm not an advertisement for you, sir. So you have a lot of businesses. You put this on Craigslist.
No, yes, technically speaking.
That's what we're here for.
That ad wasn't for me.
Who cares who
I
it
wrote
was
the ad
for?
for somebody else.
Who cares who it was for? Who cares? He doesn't know that. All he knows is this is the ad that he saw on Craigslist. He had every right to send it to whoever he wanted to send it to.
To my workplace? Well, he doesn't work in the workplace anymore.
I don't care. He could have sent it to the King of Siam. He could have sent it to me. He could have sent it to the President of the United States. He could have sent it to the Vice President of the United States or the Secretary of the Interior. It doesn't make any difference. It's out there in cyberspace, put on the internet by you, Mr. London. He could send it to whoever he wants. It's open. That's what it is. It's like sending an open letter.
To send it to my job for what? For laughs?
Who cares? If you don't want to be embarrassed, you don't put embarrassing things on the internet, Mr. London. If you don't want to be embarrassed, keep your private thoughts to yourself.
But the ad is not mine, is what I'm trying to tell you. Can I actually tell you?
Listen, Mr. London, I understand the nonsense what you wrote in your complaint. You said you were doing an ad for somebody else, and this was just a sample of what the ad would look like. But Mr. Bell doesn't know that because you posted this on Craigslist.
But how does he know I posted it?
It doesn't make any difference whether he knows you posted it or not, sir. It's here. It's out there in the world. Just like he sees it, anybody else can see it. He can send it to whomever he wants to send it. The truth of the matter is, you did post it on Craigslist. Did somebody tie you down and take these pictures?
No, those are sample pictures.
Those are pictures that
The pictures don't even match the ad, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh,
it's
yes,
not
they
even...
do. Oh, yeah, listen, Mr. London, you can tell me whatever you want to tell me, sir. This may have aggravated you. It may have upset you. It's a very good lesson. If you want to think privately, you go, I want to take it all in, and this is what I want to do. I want to keep these thoughts to myself. If you want to give massages to big, beautiful women, and that's what you're thinking about, and I'm going to see it, but I'm not going to write it in a letter to my mother or my sister or my boyfriend or my girlfriend. I'm going to keep it to myself. Once you type it in the machine, and you write send, it's over. It's out there. It's in Mexico and Burma and
Jersey
and Brooklyn. It's all over the place. And you can't complain about it if somebody says, this is really funny. I want to send it to everybody that I know who knows this jerk who posted this on Craigslist. So, Mr. London, grow up. You want to keep things to yourself? You want to talk into your pillow. Don't talk into your computer. Case is dismissed.
26-year-old Vanessa Gravenstein and 25-year-old Karina Irwin are suing their former friend, Brian Lewis, for embezzling money from an art collective.
Ms. Gravenstein, according to the complaint that I've read, you and the co-plaintiff met the defendant. You were interested in starting something called an art collective. And I assume what that means is a place where young people can show off their art. Is that right?
And also produce their art and be inspired by each other.
And what you did was you and the co-plaintiff were involved in setting up events to raise money to create this art collective. And the two of you worked together along with Mr. Lewis. You raised over $4,700 at these various events, something that Mr. Lewis does not deny. And you put it in the bank. And Mr. Lewis took the money and spent it. Mr. Lewis's defense is that it was always intended to be his money. That's your defense.
Essentially.
Well, Mr. Lewis, I want you to explain that to me, sir.
9 months ago, I was starting a venue to have
Starting a
venue space for concerts, art showings, and so forth. And over the course of about 9 months, I looked for a location to house that.
I thought you said 9 months ago you had a venue space.
No, 9 months ago we did not.
9 months ago, then you had nothing. You had an idea.
We had an idea.
Keep going.
And over those 9 months, I started a business called...
What was the business?
The business name was Is Village, and it was filed by the Secretary of the State of Oregon.
So now you had an idea that you gave a name to, and you filed a registration of the name. So far you have an idea and a name, and nothing else. Keep going.
I basically looked for individuals to help me create this venue space that was supposed to be owned by myself, and met with friends and other individuals, and they aided me in organizing different events.
Who aided you?
These two individuals and a rotating group of individuals that came in, came out.
Keep going.
We held events, generated money, and because the business belonged to me, it was put in my personal bank account and was my personal
Why was it
property.
put in your personal bank account?
Because the business was mine, I started the group, the money was essentially mine from the get-go.
No, that's not true. You're an embezzler. Absolutely. You brought a group of people together in order to create a dream that you inspired others to act upon. In order to do this Is Village. That's why they went to work for you, and that's why, according to you, the other people who you spoke to became involved in creating the events that brought in money, which would ultimately provide you with a venue. Now, what did you spend the money on, Mr. Lewis?
When I was no longer satisfied with the direction of the business that I started, I followed up on interests, business interests, friends of mine, a limousine.
So you spent the money on yourself?
I wouldn't say that, but...
Well, I would. They weren't investing in a limousine. That's not why they worked to create this, so that you could invest in a limousine? Outrageous. You're outrageous. I'm surprised you didn't notify the police. Did you?
We notified you instead.
Well, his conduct is outrageous, and you should have notified the police. He's an embezzler. And I wouldn't go into a business with you, Mr. Lewis. What you did is outrageous. The only problem is you're not entitled to this money. I mean, my problem is people supported you and gave money and contributed because they were looking forward to some place where they could show their wares. If I gave you this money and you used it on yourself, you're no better than he is.
Exactly. So we feel like we've learned from this situation, and we're going to get a new business and a new business name.
I want to see how much money you collected and how much you put in his bank. Do you have the records?
Yeah.
I'd like to see it, please. Ever been arrested, Mr. Lewis?
No, ma'am.
How old are you?
21.
Better go back to business school.
Definitely considering it.
I want to see where the money went in.
The deposits are highlighted and circled, and then we wrote next to it which benefits that money came from.
Oh, that's fine. As soon as you get me the bank records, not these, the bank records. Do you understand? You mean you can't get them because they're in his name? I will sign an order for the bank to turn those over to you, unless he does. You prepared to turn those over?
More than happy to do it.
Fine. As soon as we get those, and you have a venue with a signed lease, the check will be made payable to that venue. Do you understand? That comports with the reason that not only you, but other people became involved in this vision. Is that reasonable?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Grow up, sir. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in jail. That's all.
Ann Gribben claims professional singer Porter Singletary stopped performing halfway through her son's birthday party. Porter claims he was rattled by one of the guests.
Miss Gribben, you hired the defendant, who is a singer, to sing at your son's birthday party.
Yes.
You gave him a deposit of $250. You want that deposit back because you claim that he came to the party and left after performing 3 songs.
Correct.
Mr. Singletary says that he came to the party, he was ready to continue with his part of the contract, but you had at least one unruly guest who wouldn't stop heckling him, and you did not take care of your guest. So that's his defense.
Yes.
How much were you supposed to pay him for the evening?
$450 for 4 hours.
And when did you hire him?
I'm not exactly sure of the date. I do have a letter that I did write him enclosed with my check.
Okay. What date is on the letter?
July 17th.
And when was the party?
18th of August.
How far do you live from the Gribben home, sir?
Oh, 15 minutes.
And tell me what happened when you got there.
I brought my equipment in.
What equipment did you bring?
Sound equipment, PA equipment.
And you set up?
And I set up.
What time did you arrive, sir?
I got there at about 10 minutes to 7.
You were due there at 7?
I was supposed to start at 7:30.
Okay, great.
And I actually started at 7:20 because there were guests there.
Okay, keep going.
So I started singing at about 7:20, doing everything basically that they've always heard me sing in the past at other events. It was about 8:10, still singing. They informed me that the sun was going to arrive. When the sun was to arrive, I was to stop the music and we're going to sing happy birthday to him. So we went ahead and we stopped the music. He came in at about 8:20. I've already sang an hour. And then the son comes in and we all sing happy birthday. And he comes in, he walks through. I continue to sing. A lady came up to me and she said to me, "Can you pick the pace up a little bit? Can you sing something a little bit more up?" I said, "Sure, fine."
Not Miss Gribben.
Yeah, I don't know who this person is.
You mean the person who came up to you?
The person that came up to me. So out of respect to the household and the people that were there, I said, "Okay, fine." So I sang something a little up. I sang 2 more songs. Then the lady, she comes back again, and she says, "Could you sing something, a little bit more up?" And I go, "I am singing up. What do you want me to sing?" She says, "Oh, I don't know, just anything, but sing it up." I said, "But if you tell me what kind of music you want, I can sing it." So then she says, "Oh, just go ahead." So I sang a couple more songs. She comes right back again after 2 songs. And I said, "What's going on?" And she said, "Well, could you sing something a little more up?" I says, "Look, this is your 3rd time to come to me. You need to tell me what it is that you want." So then she says, "Well, just anything." So I said, "Okay, fine." I turned the music off, and that's when I went in to look for the plaintiff. The lady that had been coming to me to ask me these questions, they were in the room together. And when I came to the door, they were talking about me, and they both turned red in the face because they were saying something. And then I just said, "I don't know who this lady is." I said, "You know what I do? She wants me to do something that I don't know what she wants me to do, and it's total throwing off everything that I do as an entertainer." Within about 2 minutes, all of a sudden some music comes on, blasting. Some kind of rock punk music. And I go, "What are you guys doing?" And then so she says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I can't believe that this is happening." And
Who said that?
The plaintiff. And then so
who changed the music? Who changed the music, Miss Gribben?
The bartender.
The bartender. Go ahead.
So then she said, "Oh, Porter, I can't believe this." And I just said, "Well, you know what? I'm an entertainer and I'm singing, and I sing with a feel. And when you change the mood of the show, it throws everything completely off. And this music, and the kids are just bouncing their head around, and they're into this music."
So they're into music.
Up to this music.
Okay. You left because of this disagreement that you had with her son's fiancée.
Well, whomever this lady was.
That was the son's fiancée.
Yes. It was the son's fiancée, the girlfriend, yes.
Girlfriend. Girlfriend, fiancée. Now I'll hear you.
Okay, I remember it a little differently. First of all, Porter's a fabulous singer. I don't question that one bit. We've seen him at several venues, different places.
And nobody's ever had a problem with him?
Nobody that I know has ever had a problem with him.
Right, that's why you hired him, because you liked the way he sang, and nobody ever had a problem with him.
Super
So
singer.
now I'm hearing you.
But it's a little different. The times are a little different. He wasn't there that long. I remember it that he sang 3 songs.
Well, he sang more than 3 songs.
Oh,
Three
okay.
songs last half of the amount of time we've just spent together.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So I know you said 3 songs. That wasn't true. Keep going.
Well, what happened was my son's girlfriend did interrupt him. I don't know how many times it was. Porter came to me, what he's saying is true, and he was telling me what happened, and he was upset about it. And when he told me, I was upset about it. I had no idea. But I want to just tell you one thing that was a little different. Porter was going to come that day with a DJ, and what happened was 2 things. He was going to come at 1 o'clock that day, and we were going to go over the song list. But it was his birthday that day, and he called me and said his family was taking him out to lunch. Would it be all right if he didn't come? I said, yes, it's fine. We'll see you tonight. Okay. And then when he got there, I said, where's the DJ?
You mean you thought you were going to get a singer and a DJ for $450?
Right, well,
what planet do you live on?
I'm sorry, not a DJ. I'm sorry, DJ equipment. I'm sorry, okay. not a DJ. I'm sorry.
So you had entertainment for the entire day. He was going to sing and DJ equipment when he wasn't singing.
Correct.
For $450. Keep going.
Okay, but he got his DJ equipment stolen, and I said the reason I'm bringing that up is I said that was no big deal. I mean, he sings beautifully.
Let's go.
But what happened was when he came to me and told me that my son's girlfriend was had interrupted him, you know, I told him that I would immediately speak with her, and he's telling the truth. When he stopped playing, the bartender turned the music on. So I told Porter, I said, I'll turn it off. I mean, I begged him to stay. I mean, I told him I'd do whatever I could to, What
did you say to your son's fiancée?
I asked her, I confronted her immediately because she walked in right kind of behind Porter, and I said, what's going on?
And what did she say?
She says, well, I just wanted him to play something a little different or something a little upbeat.
Well, it's not up to her.
Oh, absolutely. I said, let me handle this.
And what did she say?
Oh, okay, you know, but, I mean, I agree that she was rude. But what I told Porter that night, I said, Porter, I mean, you're terrific, and everybody here thinks you are. We want you to stay. I mean, I'll muzzle her. I'll do whatever you want. I mean, it wasn't unruly guests. I mean, it was he has to admit, it was family and friends.
Got it. He came to perform in good faith. According to you, you've seen him perform at many other venues.
Yes, I did.
He's never had a problem.
Well, no, not that I know of.
If he'd had a problem, you would have known about it if you were there.
No,
so he's never had a problem. You hired him. He wanted to do a good job. Clearly, something at your son's birthday was so distasteful that he felt as if he was prepared to risk your good offices to say, I'm leaving. I can't work in this kind of environment. You acknowledge that your guest was rude to him. He doesn't have to tolerate somebody being rude to him. You know, it would have been nice if he said, well, I'll suck it up and continue to play, but he doesn't have to tolerate that. He can leave. So the question is, was the time that he spent at your home worth $250, which was your deposit? And it was. He's an entertainer. He entertained. He came to your house. He spent an hour and a half there. He set up. He performed for $250. That's a bargain. He's entitled to $250. So, did your son have a good time at his 30th birthday?
We still had a good time, but it was an embarrassing thing.
Of course you still had a good time. Well, don't you think he was embarrassed?
Yeah, I guess I've seen it a little bit differently, but I mean, I don't deny that he, you know, is not a good singer. I mean, I can't say that.
No, he was embarrassed.
It's just that we tried to do our best to make it good with him. I mean,
I believe that you did. I believe that you said, let me handle it.
Yeah, I did.
Your future daughter-in-law, let me handle it. She's still the girlfriend?
Ex-girlfriend now.
Ah. See what happens? All things work out for the best. How much after the party did she become an ex?
Couple months.
Couple of months. See how things all work out for the best?
We didn't really like her.
You
probably shouldn't say that.
Well, listen, you never know what's going to happen in the future, so got to keep all your options open. But it sounds to me as if he had a good time at his party.
He did.
Good. I'm glad. He's entitled to his $250. That's all. Thank you.
Christine Clark says her former friend, Breon Hawkins, owes for a loan, damage to her home, and a false arrest.
Ms. Clark, the defendant was a friend of yours who you allowed to move into your home, and it is your claim that you made a loan to him to put it as a down payment on a car of $1,000. things turned sour in the home and you wanted him to leave, you claimed that he damaged your property by breaking down the door and the door frame. And in addition, you claimed that he had you falsely arrested. Mr. Hawkins says that there was no loan. He says that you tried to lock him out of the apartment, which is why he damaged the door. And as far as the false arrest charge is concerned, he says that you and Mr. Hawkins, as well as your boyfriend, were arrested that day. When did he move in with you and why?
He moved in with me in September of 2008. At the time, he was living with his best friend's parents, and he basically told me that he needed to move out of the home and he had nowhere to go.
How did you know him?
I met him through a mutual friend of ours.
How long ago?
In June 2008.
Why would you let him move into your house?
We befriended each other. We started hanging out. He seemed like a really nice guy at the time, a really sincere, sweet guy. And out the kindness of my heart, I allowed him to stay at my home. He slept on my couch.
Odd.
Right.
Now tell me about this $1,000 that you gave him.
In April of 2009, he approached me and asked me if he can borrow $1,000 from me because he needed a car. At the moment, I didn't actually give him the money, but 2 weeks in, I actually ended up giving him money. I have paperwork here that I went to the bank and I withdrew $1,000 out of my account.
Just a second. Tell me why you gave him the money after 2 weeks.
He needed a car. He needed another car. The car that he had was breaking down. He didn't want to pay for it to get service, and he needed to get back and forth to work.
Where was he working?
He was working at St. John Hospital in Santa Monica.
Doing what?
A lift associate for the lift team. So it's not like it's not like I just
What were you doing?
I'm a lift team member. I lift and turn patients.
Still working there?
Yes.
So you needed a car to get back and forth to work?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I have the documents here and saying that I did.
He doesn't deny that you gave him $1,000. He just says there was no expectation of being
We had a agreement that he promised to pay me back $300 a month for the next 4 months, and the payments were going to start actually on May 17th, the actual day that he came to my home and damaged my home. That was the day that the first payment was supposed to be started. No such payment was received at that moment.
Okay, let's deal with the car.
Okay, where do you want me to start?
You needed a car.
I needed a car, which is true. She did give me the $1,000, but it wasn't for me to pay her back. It was.
Your Honor, that's a lie.
If you interrupt again, and I do this, if you interrupt him again, I'm dismissing your case. Do you understand?
Yes.
I gave you an opportunity to speak. Now it's his turn. Got it?
Yes.
Tell me the circumstances, sir. Tell me what you said to her, what she said to you. That's what I want to hear.
First, I asked, can I borrow $1,000?
Okay, can I, just a second, can I borrow $1,000?
Yes.
Okay.
And she
said?
She was reluctant to give it to me because she's like, I don't think you're going to pay me back. And I said, okay, I'll pay you back. She was like, let's write a contract. She didn't write the contract out. So then 2 weeks passed, and then she offered, like, sex.
No, don't tell me offered like. I want you to tell me what she said, Mr. Hawkins.
Basically, I give you the $1,000 and we continue to have sex with each other.
Okay.
And I did it. I had sex with her before, so I don't see would it be a difference to not have sex and do it this time. I haven't been having sex with her since December. This is now April, and like she had tried to come on to me, and I like reject her.
Are you asking me?
No, I'm just saying. Like, I reject her.
You rejected. You stayed on the couch.
Yes.
You owe her $1,000, Mr. Hawkins. Very good. All right. Quiet.
Excuse me?
That's what you said. Can I borrow $1,000? And she said, I'm reluctant. You said, I'll pay you back. And you said, I'm reluctant. And then 2 weeks later, she gave you the money. Now, let's hear what happened on May 17th.
Okay, on May 17th, I approached him for the first payment of the money. He basically got on my face and told me that he wasn't going to give me anything. He didn't owe me any type of money. I was on the phone at the time.
You want to lose? Fast?
I was on the phone at the time with another friend of mine, and a friend of mine heard the commotion going on.
Don't tell me what the friend heard.
I went to pick up the friend because at this point I was afraid for my life. I picked up the friend, and we came back to my apartment, and I sat outside, and I called the police. I have phone records here that I showed that I called the police for. Because he was threatening me at that point, the reason why I left.
Just a second. You left.
I left.
He was threatening you. Tell me what he was saying to you.
That he runs this ish, and he was going to hit me, and if he can't, by law, he lives there now. I can't do anything to get him out.
That's
He's
not
not going anywhere. He was going to hit me and vandalize my car.
No, I don't believe he said that.
Oh, he did.
No, I don't believe he said that. I believe that he said he's not moving anywhere because he lives there now. And then you left. You left and you came back with a friend.
Right, and I said...
What did you say when you came back with a friend?
Nothing. We sat outside the car and I called the police at that point. I sat outside and I called the police because I needed him out of my apartment at that point because he threatened to hit me. That's the reason I left.
Let me explain something to you. I don't believe that. I don't believe that he threatened to hit you. But you called the police and you tried to get him out of the apartment. Just answer my question.
Right, yes.
Police came and they must have told you that...
He fled the scene.
Just a second. Did the police tell you that he was a tenant in your apartment?
Yes.
And that you couldn't get him out?
Right.
So what did you do?
I went inside. Actually, before I went inside, he came with the young lady that he's brought to court now. After he fled the scene, he came back with the young lady in the car, and I told the police at that point.
Well, he fled. Did you flee the apartment?
I fled to get help.
Fled.
I was afraid for my life at that point.
Then
Judge.
you should have fled
I
and
was
gone
really
to the...
afraid.
Miss Clark, don't play. If you fled and were afraid for your life, you go to the police station. You don't go pick up a friend. That's what you do if you are afraid for your life. You don't come back with somebody who's not in authority.
Okay.
Okay? So let's not play with each other. There are things that I believe and there are things that I don't believe.
Okay.
Right? Because it's based on common sense and my years on this earth. Now, he left and then he came back with this young lady.
Yes.
And what happened?
At that point, when I was still talking to police, I told the police that he came back with the young lady. They did nothing about it.
Right, because they said he's allowed to be there, because he's a tenant.
They didn't say that.
Well,
they just,
but that's what I'm telling you, and that's what you knew from before. Go ahead.
So at 4 o'clock in the morning, she started playing on my phone. She called me.
Just a second. Was he still in the apartment?
No, he left altogether.
He left. They both then left.
They both left, correct.
Okay, and then what did you do?
I went inside, and at that point, I started watching TV. I finally fell asleep around 3:30 or 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, they started playing on my phone. I turned my phone off.
Just a second. Did you lock the door?
I locked the door.
Did you double bolt it from inside?
I locked the top locks.
So that means that he could not get in?
He can get in. He had a key.
No.
He has the key. He had the key to the apartment. He stayed there. He has a key.
Go ahead.
I only had a key to the bar door. I didn't have a key to the wooden door. So that's how she locked me out.
Okay, that's what I assumed.
Okay.
So you locked him out. Hey, Miss Clark, don't play with me. So you locked him out.
I locked the door.
You
Judge,
locked him out.
I was afraid for my life. He threatened me.
Listen, Miss Clark, just answer my questions, madam. You locked him out. The police had already told you that you had no right to lock him out, but you locked him out and he broke the door down. Is that what happened?
Yes. He came.
Is that what?
Yes.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
He can do that.
At 5 o'clock in the morning, he kicked in the door with this young lady here at 5 in the morning. Why is he kicking the door in at 5 in the morning?
Listen to me.
At that point, I was very afraid for my life, Judge.
Well, I don't care whether you were afraid
for my life.
Clark, hey, I don't care whether you were afraid for your life. You locked the door. They tried to call you. You turned your phone off.
No,
and
that's not the reason she was calling me.
Miss Clark, listen to me carefully. He has the right to do that. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. You got your $1,000, but you had no right to do what you did. The police already told you you had no right to keep him out, so you took the law into your own hands and you locked him out. And he has the right to go into his place of abode, which is where he was living with you for a long time. And he broke down the door because you had no right to lock him out.
I understand that, Judge, but at the same time, it doesn't take him to come to my home at 5 in the morning. I have small children living with me. Why is he coming to my home at 5 in the morning, kicking in my door?
Listen to me.
I'm afraid for my life at that point.
Listen
and he's
to me.
coming with someone
You're trying
to
to talk over me. That's not going to happen. I tried to explain it to you. The police tried to explain it to you. You didn't like their answer, and you don't like mine.
Judge, I have pictures of the damages that he done to my apartment here.
That's your problem.
When he kicked in the door, he damaged my coffee room table. He broke the table.
Then you shouldn't have locked the door. The next day, you go to court and you try to have him evicted for whatever reason.
I actually got a restraining order because I was falsely arrested.
That's what
I was falsely arrested, and I have my witness here that can attest to that. When I called the police, they came back out and he claimed that I hit him and he put me in jail. So he falsely arrested me on battery charges, and that's a lie because I have paperwork here also saying that no charges were filed against me. So in the midst of me being nice and helping him out, I get suckered in the end. I lose all this money in the end because I tried to help this gentleman out here.
I want to tell you something. You have children who live with you?
Yes, I do.
You don't bring somebody into your house that you've known 3 months.
I know. I learned my lesson
Just a second.
now.
Well, now you learn your lesson better. Because if there wasn't some bizarre reason for bringing him into your house after 3 months to expose him to your 2 children, bizarre reason that I don't even want to get into right now. You don't do that if you're a responsible adult and a responsible parent.
Judge, I go to work every day.
Miss Clark, you made a mistake.
Yes, you're right. I made a mistake.
Acknowledge
I do.
your mistake.
I did.
And you also, if you're a hardworking lady
did.
and have 2 children that you're supporting, you don't lend somebody who's a couch sleeper $1,000 of your hard-earned money.
I learned my lesson.
Well,
right,
now you're going to learn a better lesson. You get your money back, but the rest of it is your problem. You had no right to lock him out of the place where he had been living for half a year. You owe her the $1,000 for the car. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Robert McCullough is suing a former bandmate of his daughter's friend, Joseph Bongiorno, for the return of his musical equipment.
Mr. McCullough, it is your claim that the defendant has a piece of music equipment that belongs to you.
Actually, 2 pieces, Your Honor.
An amp and something else.
And a controller for it, yes.
The defendant acknowledges that he has the equipment. He said it's his. You gave it to him.
Okay.
That's your defense, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Where is it?
It is currently in my possession at my home.
How long do you know the plaintiff?
Mr. McCullough, I met back in November of 2008.
How did you meet him?
I met him through Matthew Clooney, the plaintiff's witness. I'd been in a band with them since early, probably November of 2007.
So you met him through your bandmate?
Yes.
Now, tell me the circumstances of how this perfect stranger to you, someone with whom you had no relationship with, no business dealings with, correct? Mm-hmm. Gave you what he says, valuable pieces of equipment worth in excess of $1,000.
I went to his house with Matt Clooney, and he said Matt had previously called me saying that Mr. McCullough had an amplification system for me to use, and I went to
use an amp system for you to use.
It was given to me, yes.
No, you first said he had an amp system for you to use. Mm-hmm. Those are the words that you just said. Is that right, sir?
No, ma'am.
No, of course it's right. You want me to play it back for you?
No, thank
What you said was, Matt called you and said that Mr. McCullough had amp equipment for you to use. Then you quickly changed the word use for you to have. But the first word you used was use, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So what did you do?
I took the equipment from Mr. McCullough.
What was the agreement? What did he say to you, and what did you say to him?
Well, when it was given to me or handed over to me, there was no agreement saying that I had to return the equipment.
Tell me what he said to you.
What he said to me was, you can have this equipment and use it, you know, tell me what you think about it, and that was what was said.
Did you use it?
Yes.
Did you tell him what you thought about it?
No, I did not.
Then you have to give it back. He gave it to you to use, and he said to you, I want you to use this and tell me what you think about it. There's your contract, if I believe you. You never told him what you thought about the equipment.
No, I did not.
You got to give it back. Now. The fact that you're angry because you're no longer in the band doesn't mean you don't return the equipment. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Within 5 days, sir, you get your equipment back.
Your Honor, just one quick thing I'd like to interject, if you don't mind.
Sure.
What would be the recourse not have the 2 pieces of equipment?
Do you have the 2 pieces of equipment?
Yes, ma'am.
He has them.
Okay.
And they're to be returned to him in good condition. Otherwise, he can bring you back here. Do you understand? You don't want to be back here because you've already embarrassed yourself. You got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused.
Intuitive counselor Rosemary Guerra is suing her colleague, psychic Elizabeth Wines, for the return of money she paid for business leads.
Ms. Guerra, it is your claim that the defendant owes you for some sort of an investment that you made with her towards some future business. Each of you at least makes a living or an avocation of being a psychic.
Right.
And according to you, you gave Ms. Wines some money. What did you give her money for?
I gave her $1,500 in reference to some promises she had made in order for us to work events like fashion shows, concerts, special events.
What was she supposed to do for the $1,500?
She was supposed to introduce me to her friend Stacy. That's supposed to put us into events in order for us to work as intuitive readers or psychics. And she had promised me a lot of different events and different parties, 38 events for this year, and that never materialized.
Ms. Wines, what was the $1,500 for?
Leads.
Leads?
Leads for events.
And when did she give you the $1,500?
In February.
How long had you known Ms. Guerra?
Well over 3 years.
And you told her that this $1,500 was to secure leads for her?
Correct. To take place in June.
How many leads did you give her?
We never got that far.
Just a minute. This is what we have. We have $1,500 given to you to provide her with leads for events. How many leads did you give her?
She would not talk to me to pick out the events.
Okay, so the answer is you gave her no leads.
Absolutely none.
Then you have to give her money back. Your contract is she gave you the money to give her leads. You didn't give her any leads. She gets her money back.
She needed to pick the events. Not all the events are appropriate for psychic.
Show me any correspondence that you have between February and June asking her to pick out the events for the $1,500.
When I contacted her in April, or we mean when the producer contacted her in May, asking her to work the events, and she refused. Is that what you say?
That's hearsay. You have to give her back her money, Miss
Okay.
Wines. You have to stop whining and give her back her money. Do you understand? You didn't provide the service for which the $1,500 was designed. You didn't perform the service. Maybe you'll do it sometime in the future. Maybe you can all sit down and figure that out. But right now, you didn't provide her with what she contracted for. So you have to give her money back. It's very simple, right? Perfect. Goodbye. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500.
Parties are excused when they step out.
Donnie Gatewood claims his daughter, Crystal Gatewood, and her boyfriend, Christopher Mayer, owe for loans. The defendants are countersuing, claiming Donnie put sugar in Christopher's gas tank.
Ma'am, have a seat.
Mr. Gatewood, this young lady is your daughter, and the co-defendant is her boyfriend. They have a couple of children together. They are not married.
Correct, ma'am.
It is your claim that you made a loan to them,
Yes,
a loan in the amount of, I believe, $4,000,
Yes, ma'am.
that they were supposed to pay you back. They didn't do that.
Correct.
Your daughter and the boyfriend say that this was not a loan, this was a gift, because they had fallen on some hard financial times, and that you became more and more obsessed with getting this money back, an obsession that rose to the level of harassment. They are counterclaiming, claiming that you not only harassed them, but that you vandalized Mr. Mayer's car.
Yes.
How old are you?
I'm 20.
How many children do you have?
I have 2.
How old are they?
They are 2 and 6 months.
Is Mr. Mayer the father of both of those
Yes.
children?
Yes.
What do you do for a living?
I was a forklift driver.
Well, how long ago were you a forklift driver?
A few weeks ago,
And how long were you a forklift driver?
for about 6 months.
Before that, what did you do?
Forklift driver at another job.
Why do you keep changing jobs?
Because Mr. Gatewood keeps calling on my jobs.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's somebody else's fault. It's not your fault that you lose these jobs.
Right.
Mhm. How much did you make at your job?
I was making $8.50
$8.50
hour.
That's not a lot of money.
No, ma'am.
Can't support yourself and 2 children on $8.50 an hour. So what do you do for a living?
I stay at home with the children.
Well, you can't afford to do that.
Well, right before this job, he had a job that paid $12.90 an hour.
$12.90 an hour, a virtual windfall. You think you can support a family on $12.90 an hour gross?
I think that's a pretty good amount.
And when did you lose that job?
November.
And you went right to work for somebody else?
Yes.
When did they call and ask you for money?
About the first part of February of this year, your ma'am.
Now, if you were working in February, what did you need money for? Look, don't go like that. I don't know. If he's working as a forklift operator at a job that he can support a wife and 2 children, girlfriend, excuse me, why did you call your father for money?
Pretty much he continued to lose every job right around 3 weeks. And each time the boss of the job would call and say, I'm sorry, we have to let you go. But there's a complaint that we got from a person calling in. And
a boss doesn't fire him if he's doing a good job because some stranger calls that he doesn't know and says he's not doing a good job. That doesn't make sense, Miss Gatewood. Okay, so you called your father and said that you needed money.
we actually called him and said, could we stay with you for a while until we got something saved up?
So, Miss Gatewood, so you called the person who you thought was responsible for your husband, I keep saying that, I must be old-fashioned, for your boyfriend losing his jobs, job after job after job. So what you did was call him and say, could we come and stay with you?
I asked for me and the kids to come and stay.
I'm trying to get where you're coming from. You call the person who you believe is responsible for all your bad luck and say, can we come and stay with you? And what did your father say?
He said we could stay for a few days, but he'd like to try to find us a place to stay for us to be stable.
Okay. And you said?
I said that'd be great.
And?
We went looking for mobile homes. We finally found one that we could buy for $1,000. So he told us that he would get us a loan to help build my credit.
Great. So you went to the bank?
Yes.
And what happened to the bank?
We got a $4,000 loan that my dad agreed he would pay. I didn't have a job at the time. Chris knew nothing about it.
Chris knew nothing about it. When you moved into this mobile home that you found, he wasn't going to move in with you?
Chris wasn't any part of the loan. He was going to live with me.
Just answer my question.
Yes, he was going to live there.
Well, if he was going to live there, where did he think that you got the money from?
I told him my dad was going to help us out. That's what we were told. It was going to be a gift.
Is that right, sir?
No, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Gatewood, do you want to tell me your version of what happened with your daughter and this money?
Yes, ma'am. At approximately first part of February of this year, my daughter called me crying, saying that she was being evicted from her apartment. Said they had no money for gas, no money for food. It was snowing. They wanted to know if they could come with me. I said, you and the girls can. That young man can't hold a job. He's not welcome. I got off the phone. About 20 minutes later, I called my daughter back. She was upset. I said, I tell you what, I'm going to help you. It's going to be a loan. You got a tax return coming. You can pay me back part of it this year and part of it next year. At that time, that loan will establish your credit. It will also gain you new residency, which it did. We got a trailer for her, 14 by 70, 1974 trailer. Got her washer and dryer, got her couch, got her refrigerator. And
when you say you got her, did she go with you shopping?
Yes, yes. We actually purchased a trailer.
The washer and dryer came with it.
The washer and dryer and the couch basically came with
the refrigerator he got from work.
Okay.
For free.
That's
now,
correct.
You took out, according to you, a $4,000 loan. The trailer was, according to your daughter, $1,000. What happened to the rest of the money?
That's correct. We gave the actual person that we bought the trailer from $2,800.
No, we
For
did
what?
not.
For the trailer and all the belongings in the trailer, for the furnishings.
You have proof of that?
All I have is the loan, ma'am.
Well, I'd have to know what happened with the money.
Well, I gave her the cash to help.
Look at me.
I gave her cash so they could pay their car payment so they wouldn't lose their car.
Okay.
That's not correct.
How much money did your father give you?
He gave us $1,000 for the mobile home, $500 paid for the washer, dryer, couch, and stove that came with it, and $500 towards lot rent and starting all our utilities up.
So he actually gave you $2,000?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
That's not true, Your Honor. We gave the gentleman $2,800, and the other $1,200 I gave to my daughter. I did not give it to him. I gave it to her in cash.
Okay. Now, they're supposed to pay you back with their tax return, but something happened, Mr. Gatewood, according to your complaint, that irritated you. Your daughter said, according to you, she said she couldn't make the first payment.
Correct.
So you went to the bank and made the payment. That was $300 and some odd.
$375, yes, ma'am.
Then what happened, sir?
From that time, she basically asked for me to pay her lot rent as well. And I promptly went straight up there within the hour and paid her lot rent.
How much was the lot rent?
$300.
What were you doing all this time?
I was working.
Why wasn't your rent being paid?
Actually, he went up there himself and paid it off, and
But
then
why
gave her
wasn't
a
your
phone
rent?
call.
Listen to me. He would not have known to pay the lot rent unless somebody told him that the lot rent hadn't been paid.
Well, our deal
I'm not asking you. Why hadn't you paid the lot rent?
Because I haven't had my first check yet.
So your lot rent was not paid. Your food was not paid. If you didn't have any money, so you were using the money, is that right, Mr. Maher, that he gave you?
I never had money.
Well, you were eating, weren't you? You weren't on life support.
She has food stamps that she gets food from and everything.
Why would she have food stamps?
Because
She's
you
on
keep
Medicaid.
struggling. We're never getting
Well,
it.
if you keep struggling, what'd you have another baby for? You think that that was going to make it easier? Okay. Did you get your tax return back?
Yes.
How much did you get?
I think altogether about $4,500.
And it didn't dawn on you to pay your father back for this loan?
No, we were never told to pay him back.
Well, you're here now. And he must have said something before you arrived here today.
We were told it was a complete gift.
You were told that by your father?
Yes.
So between February and March, when he came to the house and told you that he wanted some money, because that's what you say in your answer, you think he had a psychotic breakdown?
My dad
How do you think he had a psychotic breakdown?
I think he goes through different moments where one day he wants to be our friend and the next day he doesn't.
That's not be your friend, and one day he doesn't want to be his friend until he grows up and accepts responsibility for making 2 children and holding down a job regularly. What I'm asking you is if your father comes and says, look, I took out a loan. I need you to pay me back part of it now and part of it next year, and you just got $4,500. Why you wouldn't do that? Why you wouldn't do that? It's your money. You're the one who works. She doesn't work. She gets food stamps.
Every time they went to do something with whatever they were doing with the money or whatever. He came over and got her, and they left and did whatever they did. I stayed at home with the kids. There was times. Never knew anything, never signed anything.
Mr. Mayor, I don't believe that you never knew anything. I believe that he came and got
Well,
her.
I knew where they were going, yeah.
You knew what they were going. You knew what they were going for, right?
Yes.
It's just that Mr. Gatewood didn't want to deal with you. He doesn't approve of the fact that you made 2 children. You have his daughter living from hand to mouth. She's not helping herself, but certainly you're not stepping up to the plate and assuming the responsibility of a head of household. So he doesn't want to have anything to do with you until you grow up. I could understand that. So he takes his daughter. That doesn't mean you're a defendant, because I don't think that you made your arrangement with him. I think you made your arrangement with her.
I made it with both of them, ma'am, and he knows that.
No. Even you tell me that you didn't make the arrangement with him. You went to the bank with her.
Not initially on the phone, ma'am, but when I went over to their trailer or to their apartment before I went to the bank, I told them that that's what was going to happen. I was going to go to the bank.
Just because you told them that was going to happen, sir, does not a contract make.
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
That's a parent saying, this is what you're going to do.
Sure.
And unless you have somebody said, fine, offer, acceptance, then you don't have a contract.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think your agreement was with your daughter. And I don't believe her when she says it was an absolute gift. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come over to the house to try to get payment.
He came over to the house because we quit talking to him. We just wanted nothing to do with him. He started...
Well, why would you have nothing to do with him before he took out a loan for you as, according to you, a gift for $4,000?
Because...
According to you. Why would you want to all of a sudden have nothing to do with him?
Because they all of a sudden wanted nothing to do with us. They didn't have us come over. My mom never came to see my daughters, nothing.
You're talking about 2 weeks? You're talking about from February to March?
Yeah, my mom would come over at least like twice a week and see them, and she just quit coming over, quit caring.
Oh, you're just a victim. You're a terrible victim. What do you think? You think both your mother and your father had psychiatric problems during those 2 weeks?
No.
Well, what do you think happened?
I don't know. I think they got money greedy and...
Money? They got money greedy?
Yes. I think we deserve that money because as many jobs as my dad has cost Chris.
Miss Gatewood, if you believe the fact that your father caused Chris to lose his job, you better have a head adjustment. He may have convinced you of that, but the truth of the matter is, that's a lot of baloney. A lot of baloney. Do you think I'm a smart lady?
Yes.
They don't keep me around here because I'm 5'6" and gorgeous. They keep me around here because I'm very, very smart. And I have a history with people. Things make sense or they don't make sense. Parents who are faced with the fact that their daughter has had 2 illegitimate children with a man who can't hold down a job, but who seems to be in love with him and seems to at least want to try to make a life with him, don't sabotage that by getting him fired from his job so that their daughter will be out in the cold with her 2 children.
I believe it's a control thing. Like, he always wants to know where I am, everything. He's always tried to bring me back to his house.
No, he's not. You called him and asked if you could come home, and he said you can come home for a while, but I'd much rather see you in your own place. He doesn't want you to come home with the 2 children. He doesn't want to be a parent to your 2 little children.
And he doesn't want to be a grandparent either.
Oh, Miss Gateway, you are truly a victim. Maybe you found the perfect foil. What you are is a big baby who has babies, but who made an agreement with your father, and then he said, I'm not giving him my $4,500. There's no way. I didn't make an agreement with him to give him $4,500, and you don't have $4,500 because you don't work. And that's what started the problem with your father. Because if you believe that your father was the cause of all of your troubles, you have to be crazy to call him up and to say, can I come home with the girls? So you really didn't believe that because you could have called his parents and said, we're being evicted. You didn't call them. You called the terrible people who were sabotaging your life. Grow up, because your tears don't make it with me. I guarantee you, they shed more tears than you did. No. Bad people. They're really bad people. The fact that you picked somebody who can't hold a job and who can't accept the responsibility for children that he made, that's their fault too.
He's there for his kid and he tries.
Well, he shouldn't be there for his kids. He should be working. You're there for his kids. And you should be working too. And in addition to food stamps, as long as you're not married, which is one of the reasons you get food stamps, along with the food stamps, there are federal programs that give you free daycare. Put your kids in daycare and get a job.
I had a bad influence with the daycare one time. One of my daughters got hurt.
Also, somebody else's fault. So get another daycare. And you don't solve your problem by making another baby.
I know.
Maximum limit that you're suing for is $3,000 on your complaint. On your complaint, I'm awarding you the $3,000 because that's the maximum in your jurisdiction. I have a counterclaim. Counterclaim says, Mr. Gateway, that you put sugar in Mr. Marr's gas tank.
That is not true.
Go ahead. Prove it.
We got a call from him about 5 minutes before.
Who's we?
Chris received the call. I was over there and also Chris's best friend. And he said...
Wait just a second. You were over where?
I was at the house.
But you didn't get the call?
No. I wasn't answering any phone calls.
Fine. Then you tell me what the call was.
I'll answer it. It's Mr. Gatewood, and he says, well, since you guys aren't going to cooperate with me now and blah, blah, blah.
No, I don't want to hear blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah I can get when I speak to my 3-year-old grandchild. I want to hear what he said to you, Mr.
He said,
Marr.
since you guys don't want to cooperate with me now.
Don't want to cooperate. Those are the words he used? Since you guys don't want to cooperate with me, go ahead.
There's sugar in your gas tank, and I hope it blows up.
So what did you do?
We went out and checked the gas tank.
Immediately hung up the phone, went outside. Me and my friend went outside. I opened the gas tank, see some white substance at the bottom. Checked my friend's truck. There's more on his than mine. I guess he thought I'd bought a new truck. We called the cops. They came over, took a report.
And the cop states in the report that there is...
Don't tell me what the police said. I'll see the police report.
I think it's on like the 3rd page.
Who blacked this out?
The police station does it.
Fill in the blanks. Mayor, that's you. This is what you told the police. Stated that the problem stemmed from a loan that blacked out, co-signed for blank. That's what you told the police. According to Mayor, you have been harassing them for the last couple of days, including calling their home constantly. Prior to calling the police, he was speaking to you on the phone. Conversation quickly became heated and turned into an argument. While they were speaking, you told Mayor he put sugar in the gas tank of his car. Mayor and your friend then checked the gas tank of both their vehicles and saw crystal-like substance, so Mayor called the police. So here, Miss Gatewood, your boyfriend acknowledges that this was a loan. Was there anything wrong with your car?
Yeah.
Uncross your hands. You have either the estimate or the cost of fixing it?
No, I don't.
Well, where is it?
I let my friend fix the filter of my car.
So you had no damages?
No, you had to change the whole complete
I had to change the filter of my gas tank.
Well, where's the bill?
I paid him $100 to go get the filter and fix my car.
So what you're telling me is you have no proof that there was any damage done to your car.
Right.
You owe your father $3,000. Who knows whether he's going to be forever? When people get married in this country today, there is a 52% chance that the marriage will terminate. When people start off like the two of you starting off, the expectation is that statistically you will not know what he looks like in 5 years. Very great. You only have in your life 2 parents. Those 2 people. I would suggest that you think about that. I would also suggest that you think about the fact that certain things make sense and certain things don't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, it's usually not true. And the fact that he has convinced you that the cause of his problems at work is your father is just ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, it's not true. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000.